Chapter 902. Her arrogant and sharp laughter reverberated in the empty room. As she laughed, tears fell from her eyes. You don't remember. You don't remember. With tears on her face, Xue Xiaoyu stared at Huaqihan with red eyes, like a devil who had crawled back from hell. It doesn't matter as long as I remember. 10 years ago, there was a major safety accident in Yuan Square. My father, my mother and my sister, 3 lives, I remember them all. The reason why I have lived to this day without dignity is that I want you to pay for what you have done. When Huaqihan heard Xue Xiaoyu's words, something seemed to flash through his mind. His face suddenly turned pale, and he looked at Xue Xiaoyu with a little more fear and panic. Su Yiyin and Xue Xiaoyu knew about Huaqihan's arrest as soon as they found out about it. Caught. So soon you took action? You can say so, but you can also say no. Su Yiyin turned to look at him. What do you mean? The person who leaked his whereabouts was his little lover. She was also the one who secretly tipped off the police. Huaqihan's little lover? Su Yiyin blinked. You mean the mistress who had a miscarriage before? It's her. But why? Doesn't Huaqihan love her very much? When he ran away he took her with him. This is true love. If a man killed all your relatives except you, and only treated you like a kitten or a puppy for 1 or 2 years, would you fall in love with him? Of course not. Su Yiyin realized something was wrong when she was about to say it. Do you mean that Huaqihan is his lover's enemy? Huachenhuan looked at her with a faint smile and did not speak. Wait, let me take a break. Su Yiyin held her forehead and tried to digest this shocking news. A person like Huaqihan would never keep someone by his side knowing that they have a grudge against him. So, could it be that she got close to Huaqihan because... When Su Yiyin said this, she subconsciously glanced at her man and saw that he still had a knowing smile on his face. She seemed to realize something and said, You already knew? Yes. Then she was pregnant with Huaqihan's child before. Wait a minute. Su Yiyin raised the corners of her eyes slightly, and her expression was subtle. Could it be that her child isn't Huaqihan's? It was one thing for the son to be cheated on, but the father was also cheated on. This family was really, it's his. It's his. Su Yiyin was stunned. Aren't they enemies? How did she? She didn't give birth. What? Huachenhuan stared into Su Yiyin's eyes and said word by word, she didn't give birth. Su Yiyin suddenly understood something and her heart trembled. From the beginning she didn't intend to give birth to this child? Yes. Su Yiyin could not accept the fact that a woman would betray herself for revenge, but she would even use the child in her womb for her own benefit. It was too cruel, but at the same time, it also made people feel her strong hatred for Huaqihan. Su Yiyin paused for a while before asking the biggest question in her heart at the moment. What did Huaqihan do to make her hate him so much? I just said that Huaqihan indirectly forced everyone in her family to death except for her. Huachenhuan paused and her eyes were slightly cold. Her father, mother and her biological sister who had just reached adulthood at that time. Chapter 903. Su Yiyin's face changed slightly. After a long silence she asked, because of what? A piece of land. A piece of land? Su Yiyin frowned slightly. What land? And square in the south of the city. Have you heard of it? Su Yiyin pondered for a moment and nodded. I know. I went there with Xiaoqi before. That square was renovated by the Hua group. 10 years ago it was originally a large open space. Su Yiyin pursed her lips and asked tentatively, What's wrong with this piece of land? Since you have been there with your friends, you should know that the land is located in the central area of the south of the city. It has a good geographical location and a large flow of people. It is now a square, but in fact the land was originally intended to be used to build an office building. Office building? Su Yiyin was a little surprised. How did it become a square later? Because of a well-planned accident. A well-planned accident? Huaqihan did it? Yes. Huachenhuan received his wife's shocked and curious little eyes. His eyes darkened slightly and he explained, at that time Huaqihan had just taken over the Hua group. His foundation was not stable, and he urgently needed to do something to convince his subordinates. So, he set his eyes on this piece of land? Yes. Unfortunately he was 1 step late. This piece of land had already been bought by an investment trademark surnamed Xue. Surnamed Xue. Su Yiyin looked at Huachenhuan inquiringly. Is it? Yes, this investor surnamed Xue is Xue Xiaoyu's father. Su Yiyin's eyes flashed slightly, and she instantly grasped the key point. What did Huaqihan do to get this piece of land? He bribed several purchasing workers at the construction site and mixed some defective products into the raw materials used for construction. He cut corners. Su Yiyan's heart thumped. It was really heartless to play tricks on this kind of thing. If they were not careful, they might have to accept their fate. And then? Not long after, the construction site collapsed. 7 people were crushed under the collapsed ruins. 3 died and 4 were injured. Su Yiyan's face darkened. He gritted his teeth and said, "He really deserves to die." "He does deserve to die, but that's not all he's done." Huo Qinhuan paused and a chill flashed through her eyes. After the accident, Huo Qihan bribed some senior executives in Xue Shaoqi's company who had long been dissatisfied with Xue Shaoqi's father. They joined forces with the media to frame Xue Shaoqi's father, and even instigated the families of the workers who died or were injured in the accident to make trouble. At that time, all the evidence pointed to Xue Xiaofeng's father, and the public opinion was very unfavorable to him. The stock price of Xue Xiao's father's company plummeted. His partners withdrew their investment and the capital chain was broken. Finally, he had to file for bankruptcy and sell his family property to repay the huge debt. Speaking of this, Huo Qinhuan looked up at Su Yiyan and told her the final ending of Xue Xiao's family after this vicious and cruel business game. After the company went bankrupt, Xue Shaoqi's father died on the spot in a car accident because he didn't sleep or rest for several days. Xue Shaoqi's mother fell ill after hearing the bad news. She didn't have the money to treat her illness, so she died soon after, leaving Xue Shaoqi and his sister to depend on each other. Xue Shaoqi's sister's situation is a little special. She is a little girl. A little girl? Then she jumped off a building. Su Yiyan was shocked. She jumped off a building? Huo Qinhuan looked at her deeply and said in a low voice, "Yes." Chapter 904. Most of the children were unsociable, and afraid of people. They needed more companionship and care from their family. Xue Xiao's parents were very loving. They loved their little daughter who was different from other children since she was a child. Xue Xiao was nearly 10 years younger than her sister. When her sister was born, she already knew something. She was not dissatisfied with the new member of the family because of her parents' love for her sister. Instead, she knew how to protect her sister since she was a child. However, such a harmonious and happy family died because of Huo Qihan's selfishness. Xue Xiao was the only one left in the family. At that time, Xue Xiao had to deal with her father's funeral and take care of her sick mother. She didn't take care of her sister. Huo Qinhuan paused. Her sister jumped off the building on the day of her mother's death. It was the unfinished building that her father bought, but the construction was suspended because of a construction accident. She jumped off the dozens of meters high empty building without any hesitation. She took away a fresh life and the last trace of warmth in Xue Xiao's heart. Although Su Yiyan had known that their family was miserable in advance, her heart still trembled when she heard this. The head of the family died suddenly. Her mother died of illness because she had no money to treat her illness. Even the only remaining family member? She must hate him very much. How could she not hate him? Yes, how could she not hate him? To fall apart just like that, with their family broken up and their people dead, who could bear it? She hated him so much, but she became his lover. Maybe it's because she didn't care about it anymore. Su Yiyan felt bad when she heard this. That was why people said that the barefoot were not afraid of the shoes. People who had nothing could even sacrifice their lives, let alone these things. In their eyes, they were just walking corpses. They had nothing to lose. They persisted until now because they were not willing to die like this. The person who caused their tragedy was living a better life than anyone else. I hope that after this she can find a place where no one knows her and start over again. If her parents were still alive, they wouldn't want her to ruin her life because of hatred. Hearing her words, Huo Qinhuan knew that she had compassion for Xue Xiao. After a moment of silence, she asked in a low voice, "Do you want to see her?" "Why would I want to see him?" Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh. Originally, he was just a person who lived in the news. It was strange for him to suddenly run over to meet him at this time. She is indeed pitiful, but since she can make such a decision and risk herself, I think she doesn't need other people's sympathy. Speaking of this, Su Yiyan turned to look at Huo Qinhuan and chuckled. What we can do for him is to make Huo Qihan's crime more serious. It's best if he can get the retribution he deserves. It can also be considered as a way to comfort those who have been hurt by him. Huo Qinhuan hugged Su Yiyan's waist from behind and buried his head in her neck. At that time, the reason why he had a little bit of compassion for Xue Xiao was that she was a little similar to him at that time. Once upon a time he also felt that he had lost everything. His loving parents and complete family were all broken up overnight. At that time he also had an extreme idea. He wanted to destroy the world and drag everyone down with him. Fortunately he still wanted her. Fortunately they were all right now. Chapter 905. Hua Qihan was finally arrested, and Su Yiyin was finally able to completely relax after a few days. In order to celebrate the fact that this scourge would no longer be able to cause any more trouble, and to thank her family and friends for their care and concern during her pregnancy, Su Yiyin decided to hold a lively barbecue party at home. Barbecue was not difficult to make as long as the ingredients were prepared in advance, so it was very suitable for a group meal. Today, in addition to Gu Xiaoyang and the others, Su Yiyin also invited Ling Xiaoqi and the Lan family. Naturally, the Su family was not left out. When Qing Xiuqin heard that his little grandson had almost been stolen, he wanted to come over in a hurry. Later, when he heard that the child had been taken to the company by Hua Qinhuan, his eldest son personally went to Hua Qinhuan's company to take a few videos of his little grandson sleeping. He finally settled down. When they heard that Su Yiyin was going to hold a barbecue party at home, the family of three ran over before dawn. They held the little boy and refused to let go of him. Su Yiyin knew that she was in the wrong for not telling them about this before. She touched her nose guiltily and did not want to fight with them. Fortunately, not long after, the others rushed over one after another. Seeing that there were outsiders present, Qing Xiuqin and the others did not want to pursue this matter in front of others. They glared at Su Yiyin and did not mention it again. Su Yiyin breathed a sigh of relief and secretly gave a thumbs up to these saviors in her heart. However, when she saw Ling Xiaoqi and Ning Xiyuan who came together, she could not help but twitch the corners of her mouth. Ling Xiaoqi, you've gone too far. Su Yiyin put her hands on her hips and looked at the group of people of all sizes. She almost laughed out of anger. Previously, when you attended my baby's 1-month-old birthday party, I didn't say anything about you because you brought a family member. Today he even brought the dogs with him and a bunch of them. That's right, Ling Xiaoqi had also brought along Hua Hua. Besides Hua Hua, there were also the 2 puppies that Hua Hua had given birth to. The puppy that Su Yiyin had been very fond of, Little Curly Hair, who had been snatched away halfway. When Su Yiyin saw Little Curly Hair, he thought, look at how much this curly hair resembles his Dun-Dun. Back then she liked this one the most. In the end, it was given away by Ling Xiaoqi as a token of love. In the end, her dog was gone, and so was her sister-in-law. Now, looking at the 2 of them walking over side by side with the 3 dogs, they looked like a family of 5. Su Yiyin felt that his mentality had collapsed. What happened to the dog? Ling Xiaoqi wasn't happy to hear her say that. Don't forget who was the one who impregnated our Hua Hua. Our poor Hua Hua is only a 1-year-old puppy. Not only did she get pregnant at such a young age, but now even the puppies she gave birth to are despised. Public morals are really degenerating day by day. People's hearts are not what they used to be. Do you even have a heart? Su Yiyin listened to Ling Xiaoqi's righteous criticism, and the corners of her mouth twitched even more. She had only said a few words and she was already defending her. In the past, she only knew that this little girl was a drama queen, but she hadn't expected her to be such a drama queen. The most important thing was that she had forgotten her friends in the face of lust. Su Yiyin opened her mouth and wanted to say something, but a cheerful figure rushed out with a whoosh and pounced on the lazy Hua Hua in front of Ling Xiaoqi. Woof woof woof, woof woof woof. There was a moment of awkwardness between the 2 of them. Ling Xiaoqi spread her hands at Su Yiyin with a look that said, see, I brought my Hua Hua here not for myself, but for your little perverted puppy. You still have the cheek to criticize me? Don't you feel guilty? Chapter 906. Su Yiyin stared at his dog, who kept rubbing against Hua Hua like a small rice cake. Even after being suppressed by force several times, it still didn't change its nature of being a bootlicker. It shamelessly went over to lick Hua Hua's fur. He felt that his face had been thrown into outer space. You little puppy, can't you save some face for your master? Su Yiyin was so angry that he wanted to beat the dog. Just then the Lan family arrived. Only Yin Xiaoran, Lan Jie and the Lan family's baby came. The baby was a few months older than little Xingxing. He was soft and white like a glutinous rice ball, and was very likable. You're here. Just the 2 of you? Yin Xiaoran carried the baby and explained with a faint smile, Grandpa and the rest are old and don't like to move much, so they didn't come. As for Mom and Dad, they said that since it's a gathering organized by youngsters, it's mostly youngsters. Since they're here, everyone won't be able to relax, so they won't join in. Although Father Lan and Mother Lan were of the same generation as Hua Chenhuan, they were almost 2 generations older than them. Just as Yan Xiaoran said, the people who came were all youngsters. There was a generation gap between them and middle-aged people like them. They couldn't chat or play together. If they came, everyone might be more restrained in the presence of the elders, and it would be a waste of everyone's mood. As for Ming Han, something came up at the company, so he went to deal with it. He might be a little late. It's fine, it's fine. It's still early. When he comes, I'll probably just finish packing. Let's go in and sit for a while. I'll go make some soup first. You can drink it when you're tired of the barbecue. Okay. Yan Xiaoran nodded and walked in with the baby. Lan Jie followed behind her, looking at her with a complicated gaze. There was even a hint of sadness in his hesitation. Su Yiyin felt goosebumps all over his body. He asked, Are you okay? Before he could finish his sentence, Lan Jie's face turned pale. He turned around and ran away. Su Yiyin? No, what was going on? Was she some kind of scourge? Why did she run away without saying anything? Was she that scary? This interlude did not last long. After all, Su Yiyin still had to prepare a few Chinese medicinal herbs and ingredients for the live stream later. For the time being, she did not have the mood to explore the twists and turns in someone's heart. She thought that after Lan Jie left, she would have to at least wait until she was done with her work for the day before she could talk to him again. Unexpectedly, just 5 minutes after Su Yiyin entered the kitchen, she prepared all the ingredients needed to make soup. Just as she was about to start the live broadcast, a certain someone eagerly followed her. Why are you here? You scared me. Su Yiyin turned her head and saw Lan Jie standing at the kitchen door, staring at her. His elusive manner was comparable to that of a ghost. She shuddered in fear. Lan Jie stared at Su Yiyin for a while, then asked excitedly and nervously, Auntie, you're the host, right? Su Yiyin was startled. Had she accidentally exposed herself? Did she have to be so caught off guard? Lan Jie saw that Su Yiyin did not say anything, but he seemed to already have an answer. You're the host, right? I should have known. I should have realized. It was so obvious. My brother and sister-in-law could tell. I call myself the host's diehard fan, but I didn't realize it at all. On the day of the medicinal cuisine restaurant's opening, and the gift you gave to my grandfather on his birthday. You guys are too much. You, my brother, and sister-in-law all knew, but you didn't tell me. Chapter 907. The young master, who had been spoiled since he was a child, had not even had the chance to experience the harsh beatings of society before he was beaten by his family. That was when he learned how evil people could be. Everyone knew Su Yiyin's identity. They knew that he was a loyal fan of the streamer and had been looking forward to meeting her in person one day. Yet, no one was willing to remind him or tell him anything. They just watched as he was played in circles. Lan Jie felt as if he had been wronged like a dog that weighed a few hundred pounds. His gaze toward Su Yiyin was filled with uncontrollable grief and sadness. Su Yiyin felt like a heartless man who had abandoned her after having sex with her. The corner of her mouth could not help but twitch. This development wasn't right. Under normal circumstances, shouldn't one be especially excited when they suddenly found out that the person they had always wanted to meet was right next to them? Why did the one in front of her look so angry instead? Cough cough. Calm down first. Before Su Yiyin could finish, Lan Jie had already cut her off. So, are you the streamer? I am. Ah wow. The tears that Lan Jie had been holding back for a long time flowed down like a broken faucet. His howls were earth-shattering and earth-shattering. Even Dun Dun, who had been circling around Hua Hua, ran over when it heard his cries. It circled Lan Jie in circles as if it was wondering what was going on with this two-legged beast that could make the same sounds as them. Could it be that they were of the same kind? Hua Hua saw Dun Dun's silly look from afar and almost wrote the word, idiot, on its cat face. Lan Jie was also a little confused by this fat dog that had appeared out of nowhere. His cries had finally stopped. Su Yiyin saw this and coughed lightly. She took the initiative to ask, How did you find out? Did your brother and sister-in-law tell you? Lan Jie's face fell when he heard that. He looked at Su Yiyin even more sadly. If they had told me, I wouldn't be so depressed. Then how did you know? Indeed, Lan Jie did not think in that direction at first. That was until Su Yiyin's last livestream, when one of the livestream's images was captured on Su Yiyin's hand, and the wedding ring on Su Yiyin's hand was captured. At that time, Lan Jie felt that the ring looked familiar, but when he wanted to look at it again, the camera had already turned elsewhere. If it were any other time, he would have missed such a small detail. At most, Lan Jia would think that he had seen wrongly and wouldn't look into it. However, perhaps because he wanted to find Su Yiyan so badly, after the livestream ended that day, Lan Jia found that short recording and watched it back and forth a dozen times before he finally confirmed that he had seen the ring before. However, even though he had seen it before, he couldn't remember where he had seen it before. Chapter 908. The corner of Su Yiyan's mouth twitched slightly. That was something the two of them would do. They had promised not to reveal her identity, but they didn't want to lie to their loved ones. The best way was to stay silent and pretend to be dead. However, in Lan Jia's eyes, their actions were no different from tacit agreement. If they didn't say anything, I didn't dare to jump to conclusions. Until I came to your house today? When Lan Jia said this, he subconsciously looked up at Su Yiyan, and his eyes became more and more sorrowful. The streamer announced yesterday that she was going to have a barbecue livestream today. Barbecue was something that could be seen from the reactions of Gu Xiaoyang and Su Yiyan when Su Yiyan mentioned it. Other than Su Yiyan, probably no one else knew about it. The main reason was that there were no seasonings like chili and pepper. Even if the recipes passed down from the past recorded how to make barbecue, it was useless without the ingredients. It was not strange that people in this era did not know about it. It was reasonable to say that something that should be unique suddenly coincided at a certain time and place. Not to mention that Lan Jia originally had doubts about Su Yiyan. Even if he didn't before, he should have guessed it by now. Not to mention, Su Yiyan and the streamer he had been thinking about had another overlap, and that was the timing of her pregnancy. Lan Jia felt that he was really stupid when he thought about it. When the little guy was 1 month old, he came with the elders to give gifts. The streamer had never concealed her pregnancy and had even stopped live streaming for several months because of it. Obviously, the two of them had similar schedules in all aspects, but he was blind to it. Just thinking about it made him depressed. Ahem. Su Yiyan looked at Lan Jia's pitiful appearance and couldn't help but feel a little apologetic. She touched her nose and explained, "Actually, I didn't mean to hide it. I never said that I wasn't a streamer, and I never said that I was a fan of the streamer." Lan Jia shuddered. Thinking back carefully, he realized that Su Yiyan had indeed never said that she was a fan of the streamer. It was he who saw her sitting alone in the corner of the medicinal cuisine house and subconsciously thought that she was a viewer of the streamer's livestream room like him. She had deliberately come to support the streamer's opening. Now that he thought about it, the restaurant was very lively at that time. Almost all the other tables were full of people, and only Su Yiyan's table was empty. That wasn't an empty seat. It was clearly a special seat that the employees had reserved for their boss. He even ran over excitedly to share a table with him. He didn't even recognize that he was the boss behind the scenes and foolishly praised him a lot. Now that he recalled the scene back then, Lan Jia wanted to dig a hole for himself and hide in it. He was ashamed and angry, but he was even more disappointed. Alright, I admit that I was wrong. I apologize to you. You're a magnanimous person, so please don't lower yourself to my level, okay? You're not wrong. I was stupid. Lan Jia cried again after he finished speaking. Without waiting for Su Yiyan to say anything, he turned around and ran away. He looked very much like the tragic female lead in a melodramatic romance drama who was betrayed by a scumbag. Su Yiyan? He left just like that? Why didn't she realize that her nephew was a crybaby before? Lan Jia left, but Su Yiyan's livestream was still on. Because of this small episode, Su Yiyan started her livestream later than the original announcement. At this time, there was already a large group of viewers squatting in the livestream room, discussing why she hadn't arrived yet. Chapter 909. The screen flashed and the familiar background of the live broadcast popped up. The audience, who had been lazy and dispirited because of Su Yiyan's lateness, was instantly overjoyed, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. The host is finally here. We've been waiting for so long. The host is late. Shouldn't she be punished? Yes. The live broadcast was promised at 9 o'clock. She's already 10 minutes late. Don't underestimate these 10 minutes. Isn't there a saying that a day apart feels like 3 years? A day is 3 years. These 10 minutes are equivalent to a week. Host, you've made us wait for so long. How can you not express your gratitude, righteous JPG? Su Yiyan looked at the screen full of comments asking for benefits. The corners of her lips curled up slightly and she said with a faint smile, "I was delayed by something at the last minute. It's my fault for making you wait for so long. However, I have good news to tell everyone today. For the sake of this good news, Would you consider forgiving me? Good news? What good news? Is a new batch of medicinal herbs going to be put on the shelves again? Really? Really? The first batch was really too difficult to get. I mobilized 10 to 20 people in my family, young and old, and only managed to get one set of lotus seeds. Oh, come on out. Upstairs, be content. At least you managed to get one set. Unlike our family, which had more than 10 people, young and old, we didn't even get a single set. Vicissitudes of life lighting smoke. JPG, facts have proven that hand speed is very important when it comes to snatching things. I've been single for 20 years. I'm a bald athlete who has dedicated most of my youth to esports. Back then, I won the Global Esports League Championship, but my family didn't acknowledge me. This time, with my own strength, I helped my family's 8 aunts and 6 aunts get one set each. Now, I've successfully been promoted to the family's most beautiful child. Worship the big boss and grab the big boss's pants while you're at it. We didn't even get a single set, but you actually got so many. You're too hateful. Hee, I also got one set. When I came back, I followed the recording in the host's live broadcast room and made a soup. Although it's not as tasty as the host's, it's my first time cooking. I'm satisfied that I can eat it. The most important thing is that after drinking it, I really feel much more relaxed. It's rare for me to have insomnia for 1 or 2 years. I slept until noon and I didn't even wake up once. Even my mother said that the dark circles under my eyes have faded a lot after a few days. It could be seen that this was a suffering patient who suffered from insomnia. He was also the first person to benefit from the sale of the Chinese medicinal herbs. There were many people like her. In fact, after the first batch of medicinal herbs went on the market, it exploded in various circles of friends, relatives, and even the academic and medical circles. Su Yiyan's previous livestream lucky draw had a limited number of people. Later on, when he opened a physical store, the number of customers he could receive every day was also limited. Even though Su Yiyan's medicinal cuisine restaurant had won a certain amount of praise due to the wave of pre-orders, there were still some things that he had never eaten or used before. No matter how well others praised him, there would always be a question mark in his heart. Although the first batch of Chinese medicinal herbs was in short supply, the quantity was really not small. It was only because there were too many people who wanted to buy it that it gave people the illusion of hunger marketing. After being bought online, the time it took for the goods to arrive was also very fast. Many people began to eat almost as soon as they got the goods. Therefore, these days, some of the more popular public circles of friends and even the comment section under Su Yiyan's live broadcast room were almost occupied by all kinds of dark cuisine pictures. Chapter 9-10. Firstly, they wanted to let Su Yiyan, the original host, see it and comment on it. Secondly, they wanted to show off that they had defeated nearly 8 figures of competitors and won first place. Su Yiyan saw that many people were discussing the effects of the first batch of herbs. He patiently watched for a while. After making sure that most of the comments were positive, he was slightly relieved and continued with the previous topic. It will take some time for the new herbs to be delivered. For those who haven't bought them, don't worry. The Research Institute will deliver them regularly. The good news I'm going to tell you today is not this, but this. Su Yiyan took out a small medicine bag as he spoke. I already previewed today's live broadcast yesterday. It's barbecue. Eating too much barbecue will make it easy to get heaty, and some people with poor stomachs will have diarrhea if they eat too much. So, after eating barbecue, you will need to drink some soup to nourish the stomach to neutralize the heat. The bag in my hand is the 4 gentlemen. The so-called 4 gentlemen refers to ginseng, atractylodes, poria cocos, and licorice. They are put together in a certain ratio into a bag, which is the bag in my hand. As Su Yiyan spoke, she handed the medicine bag in her hand to the camera so that everyone could see what was inside. The amount in this bag is just enough to go with a few ribs and stew a small cup of soup. It's just enough for one person to drink. If it's a family, you can add 1 or 2 more bags. It's the same if you stew it together. Su Yiyan put the ribs and herbs into the casserole. He added an appropriate amount of water and began to boil. You can decide the amount of water you want, but I suggest that 1 bag should be enough for 2 or 3 bowls of water. If it's too diluted, it might lose its taste. Of course, there are also taboo groups for this. Breastfeeding mothers can't drink it because most of the food and drink during breastfeeding will dissolve in the breast milk and affect the baby. Babies who like to have pimples on their faces shouldn't drink it. What's suitable and what's not suitable will be written on the outside of the package. If you're not sure about your body's condition, you can do a small checkup before choosing the medicine that's beneficial to your body. Next, Let's give a wave of benefits to the babies who are suffering from menstrual pain. As soon as Su Yiyin said this, the female viewers who were waiting in the live broadcast room were instantly excited. I've been waiting for you. Luckily I didn't give up. It's coming, it's coming. Is the host going to make soup again? I'm on my period today and it hurts so much that I want to cry. Everyone please take pity on a bedridden wretch like me. Let me win the lottery later. Please, sob sob sob. The screen of the live stream was flooded with messages asking for the lucky draw. Su Yiyin glanced at them with regret. The next medicine packet is also a mixture of 4 types of herbs. It's called the 4 things. There's Angelica sinensis, Ligusticum chuanxiong, white peony, and Rhizoma chinensis. I've used Angelica sinensis and Rhizoma chinensis in my previous live stream. These 2 things have the effect of regulating menstruation and nourishing blood. White peony and Ligusticum chuanxiong also have the effect of promoting blood circulation, relieving pain and regulating menstruation. But it's worth noting that the Siwu decoction promotes blood circulation. You can't drink it during your menstrual period. It's best to drink it before or after. It depends on one's habits. I usually drink it after it's finished. I can boil it in soup or stew it in chicken soup. If you like sweet things you can add some red dates and rock sugar. The effect is good and the taste is good. Alright, breastfeeding mothers can't drink it either. The reason is the same as before. Chapter 9:11. When Su Yiyin mentioned it, many people began to lament that it was not easy for pregnant women. After 10 months of pregnancy they had to breastfeed the child. They could not eat this or that. When Su Yiyin saw these comments she could not help but laugh. That's right. A woman is willing to risk her body being out of shape, her body being weak and swollen, and even the risk of having a lot of sequelae after giving birth. She is willing to bear a child for you and give birth to the fruit of your love. Needless to say, after giving birth, many people have to help take care of the child and breastfeed the child. They are very busy. If she doesn't really like the child and really loves you, why would she suffer for no reason? Before complaining that your wife has a bad temper during pregnancy and becomes a haggard old woman after giving birth, you should think about your wife's sacrifice. Also, did you fulfill your responsibility as a husband during your wife's pregnancy? Did you give your wife enough care and a sense of security? As soon as Su Yiyin finished speaking, a comment floated on the screen. Then when the host was pregnant, did the host's husband fulfill his responsibility as a husband? Su Yiyin was taken aback and then she slowly smiled. Barely passing. At that time Hu Chenhuan, who was sitting in the corner of the hall and watching the live broadcast, raised his eyebrows when he heard Su Yiyin's words. There were slight ripples in his deep eyes. I think the host is being sarcastic. Passing or something like that. She said it so sweetly. It's too sweet. Oh, the host doesn't mean what she says. It's not like everyone only found out today. Previously, the host's frequency of live broadcasts was greatly reduced when she was pregnant. Did you really think the host was slacking off? No, that's the host's husband's love for her. The bullet screen in the live broadcast room suddenly changed from asking for a prize to ridiculing the host. Su Yiyin was blushed by everyone's words and simply stopped watching. Today I'll use this to make chicken soup. I don't have many people here so the rest will be used for the lucky draw. Let's draw 5. You can only drink it if you're not on your period. Viewers who are still breastfeeding or menstruating, don't fight for it later. The medicine packs that I've mentioned today will be sold in physical stores one after another. It won't be too late to buy them and boil them into soup when you can drink them. Mama Bao and the pitiful little girl who were on her period, who happened to be listed as a taboo group, were originally a little disappointed. However, when they heard Su Yiyin's words, they were immediately reinvigorated. Buy, they had to buy. Even if they couldn't drink it now, they had to buy some and store it. Who knew if they would start to limit their purchases in the future? It was better to buy more just in case. Su Yiyin cut off the head and tail of the chicken, chopped it into pieces, and put it into the clay pot with the 4 ingredients and red dates. Then he filled the pot with water and waited for the chicken to be stewed. Next up is the 8 treasures soup. The 8 treasures soup is actually the combination of the 4 objects and 4 monarchs from earlier. When the 2 medicines are combined together, the medicinal effect is also a combination of the 2. It is beneficial to qi and blood. It is suitable for patients who are deficient in both qi and blood because of prolonged illness, imbalance after illness, and excessive blood loss. The cooking method is similar to the previous 2. Stewed chicken or stewed pork ribs are also fine. When some viewers heard that this thing was a combination of the two ingredients, they subconsciously felt that this thing was better than the previous two. My father's spleen and stomach are not very good. My mother is always sick and uncomfortable during her period. Do I only need to buy one set of this and it will be solved in one go? This message asked the thoughts of many people present. Su Yiyin was not surprised by this. Chapter 9:12. My advice would be to not buy it. Although this one combines the effects of two types of prescriptions, the medicinal cuisine is different from ordinary food. You can eat whatever you want, but you can't eat medicine. Dear audience member, you can check your parents' health conditions before buying and prescribe the right medicine. If you have both problems, you can cook it directly. But if it's only one of them, it's best to separate them. Don't try to save time and cook it all together. Going too far is as bad as falling short. When some people heard Su Yiyin's words, they realized that they were taking it for granted. The medicinal cuisine in Su Yiyin's live broadcast room tasted good, so many people treated it as food instead of medicine. They felt that no matter how much they ate, it would be beneficial to the body. This was also what Su Yiyin was most worried about. Now that Su Yiyin had explained it to them in advance, they calmed down and understood the logic behind it. They didn't think too much about it. Su Yiyin glanced at the time on the screen. Okay, we still have to barbecue later. Let's hurry up and introduce the last medicine package of today, Four Deities Soup. The main ingredients of Four Deities Soup are Poria cocos, huaishan, lotus seed, and gorgon seed. These four herbs have the effect of removing dampness, so Four Deities Soup is also known as a good prescription for removing dampness. Previously, I made cinnamon pork stomach soup in the live broadcast room. I added barley into the soup. Barley also has the effect of removing dampness. So, what is this dampness? There are actually two types of dampness here, internal dampness and external dampness. As the name suggests, it's the dampness produced by your body and the external dampness. External dampness is generally related to the living environment. The climate is cold and humid. If you stay in a place with humid air for a long time, it's easy for dampness to accumulate over time. This is why some people get rheumatism when they get older. Internal dampness is related to daily routine. People who stay up late like to stay at home, and don't like to exercise have weak spleen and stomach. It's easy for them to produce dampness. People who have a messy schedule and don't like to take care of themselves live in a dark and damp place. When the moisture inside and outside work together, it will make people listless, have a bad appetite, and feel drowsy. Sometimes, there will even be layers of rashes on the skin, making it itchy. With Su Yiyin's explanation, many people were stunned, and many of them directly connected the dots. Every spring and autumn, there will be an especially long rainy season. Everywhere is wet, and the walls of the room will even leak water on their own. People are also lazy, sleepy, and have no appetite. I always thought it was because of the change of seasons. So it has something to do with the humidity? Rash. It was the kind of thing where one could grab a large area of red dots. It looked very scary, but once it disappeared, it would return to normal. I thought it was because of the change of seasons, but it turns out that it wasn't the case. How do I treat this? Will there be any problems with your body after a long time? Su Yiyin looked at the rapidly passing comments on the screen and patiently explained, if the humidity is lighter, it will cause some discomfort. If it's not treated, it will cause the symptoms to worsen and lead to some complications. The best treatment is to not stay up late, exercise more, and eat more food to remove dampness. For example, Four Gods soup or Job's tears porridge. As Su Yiyin spoke, he boiled the pork belly that he had prepared early in water. When it hardened, he took it out and cut it into strips. He put in scallions and ginger to remove the smell, and put it into a clay pot with a few other herbs. Chapter 9:13. Su Yiyin had just put everything away when he saw a comment floating on the bullet screen. I can understand the previous ones, but why is this called Four Deities Soup? Why is it called this? Su Yiyin smiled. There's an allusion to this name. Legend has it that when an emperor was out on an inspection tour, the four ministers beside him fell ill before they reached their destination because they were tired from the journey and couldn't acclimatize to the environment. After that, they invited a doctor to take a look, and the doctor prescribed this Four Deities Soup. Because they are four ministers, the four ministers are called the four gods by homonyms. The tiredness of the journey mentioned in this allusion was first pointed out that they were tired. Secondly, the place where they originally lived was the dry and hot north, and the place where they went out was the wet and cold south. They couldn't adapt for a while, and the humidity entered their bodies, causing them to fall ill. From this, it can be seen that changes in the environment have a certain impact on the human body's health, and it can't be ignored. Babies who go on business trips often need to take care of themselves. Alright, if some people don't like the taste of gorgon, they can replace it with barley. The effect is the same. Su Yiyin covered the pot and wiped his hands with a towel. He glanced at the 4 pots of soup that still needed to be simmered for a while and smiled. Okay, the soup is ready. I'll turn off the live stream and move the camera. Let's go out for a barbecue. Su Yiyin first advertised the soup that he was going to drink today and his shop's new product before getting into the main topic, the real barbecue party. On the other hand, after confirming his guess, the aggrieved Lan Jie finally returned to his sister-in-law's side. Yan Xiaoran was greeting little Xingxing with her baby, and the 2 babies who were half a year apart started calling out to each other. There was an ah here and there, and it really did seem like they were having a conversation. Yan Xiaoran sensed Lan Jie coming over, but she didn't turn her head and asked in a low voice, "You're back? Where did you go just now?" Lan Jie didn't reply for a while, and Yan Xiaoran finally realized that something was wrong. She turned to look at him in confusion. She was shocked. Lan Jie's eyes were red, and it was obvious that he had been crying. Yan Xiaoran's expression changed slightly, and she hurried to Lan Jie and asked nervously, "What's wrong? Who bullied you?" "You." Yan Xiaoran was stunned. "Me? When did I bully you?" "You and my brother." The more Lan Jie spoke, the more aggrieved he felt. He wanted to cry even more. "You clearly knew that small auntie was the host, but you didn't tell me. Don't you find it funny that I don't know anything about the main character every day and even praise her in front of her as if she's the best in the world?" No. When Yan Xiaoran heard him say this, she knew that their concealment might have hurt Lan Jie's sensitive self-esteem. She hurriedly explained, "This matter is more complicated. It's not what you think. We didn't mean to hide it from you, and we never wanted to see you make a fool of yourself." Halfway through her sentence, Yan Xiaoran suddenly thought of something and looked up at Lan Jie. "Wait a minute, how can you be so sure that she's the host? Did you ask her?" Before coming here he was still confused and didn't know what to do. Now that he was so sure, there was a high chance that he had confirmed it with the person himself. "Yeah." She admitted it? "Yeah." Yan Xiaoran heaved a sigh of relief and said cheerfully, "Isn't this a good thing? Why are you crying?" "A good thing?" Lan Jie was stunned. "This is a good thing?" Chapter 9:14. What else could it be? Think about it. Your favorite streamer is your young aunt. Compared to those celebrity fans who chase their idols until the end of the day but can't even touch their idols and can't even say a word to them, you are simply a model of idolizing your idols, okay? Besides, you call her little aunt. If we treat her well, she'll treat us well. Think about the ginseng she gave us on Grandpa's birthday. Think about the medicinal cuisine she personally gave me when I was pregnant. Think about the barbecue we're going to eat later. Which one of these wouldn't make people jealous? What else are you unhappy about?" Lan Jie stood rooted to the ground. He was so focused on feeling wrong that his family members who doted on him the most had deliberately lied to him and ruined his image in front of his idols. He who had lost face did not think about this. Seeing him like this, Yan Xiaoran couldn't help but sigh. She probed, "Why are you so angry? Are you angry that we helped her hide it from you? Or are you disappointed that little aunt didn't live up to your expectations?" "No." Lan Jie trembled and subconsciously refuted. "No what?" Yan Xiaoran stared into his eyes. "You're not angry that we hid it from you, or you're not angry that she's not good. She's not bad." Lan Jie paused and thought about it carefully. He couldn't find any fault with Su Yiyin. "Very good. Since she's very good, I just didn't expect her to be someone I've known for a long time. And she's even. Nominally, she was a generation older than him." Yan Xiaoran misunderstood his meaning and gasped. "Little Yi, don't tell me you're eating from the bowl and looking at the pot, and have feelings for little aunt?" Lan Jie was stunned for a moment and immediately shuddered. "Sister-in-law, what nonsense are you talking about? I have a girlfriend and little aunt is a married woman. How could I? Yan Xiaoran sized him up and made sure that he really didn't have any improper thoughts about Su Yiyin. Only then did she heave a sigh of relief. "That's good. I thought you were like those husband and wife fans who chase after idols with real feelings. They clearly have boyfriends and girlfriends in real life, but they still call them husband and wife. I'm not that kind of person. I do like the streamer very much, but that kind of like is the kind of worship and admiration for powerful and outstanding people. It has nothing to do with the love between a man and a woman. Yan Xiaoran looked at Lan Jie, who almost swore an oath to prove his innocence. The corners of her lips lifted slightly and she asked knowingly, "Are you still angry now?" Lan Jie was silent for a moment before he said awkwardly, "A little, but I'm not as angry as before." "Recovered? What did you talk to young Aunt about? Did you get mad at her?" "No, I asked her directly if she was the host. She admitted it and even apologized to me. I didn't accept her apology and ran away." "She apologized to you, but you ran away before accepting it." Yan Xiaoran could not help but slap him on the back. "Are you stupid? How could you run away? Aren't you always good at praising people? Now that the main character is right in front of you, why are you mute? While little Aunt is still feeling a little guilty towards you, why don't you take the opportunity to ask for some fan benefits and get her to help you open the back door and get a VIP?" Lan Jia was suddenly enlightened. He instantly felt that he had opened the door to a new world, but also felt that he had missed out on 100 million. Chapter 9:15. Su Yiyan didn't know that someone was eyeing her husband's VIP privilege. The live broadcast venue was moved to the garden courtyard in front of the family's old house. Su Yiyan had specially asked someone to custom make the barbecue rack a few days ago. It was an improved version of the ancient earth barbecue rack recorded in books. Not only did it come with small wheels, but it could be pushed, pulled, and folded. It was also very eye-catching, bright, and multifunctional. In addition to the square stove on the top, there was also a small square stove on the bottom. It could completely satisfy the needs of barbecue skewers on the top and roast chicken and duck on the bottom. Ling Xiaoqi and the others had just entered the courtyard when they were attracted by the barbecue rack. They gathered around the rack and chattered. "Yin, what's this rack for? It's a strange shape. It looks a bit like a box. I think it looks a bit like a cage. Look, there's a net on top. But the one at the bottom looks like a box. Look, there's even a handle." Su Yiyan listened to their discussion and explained with a smile, "This is a barbecue rack. The one at the top is used to roast small things. The box at the bottom can be used to roast a whole chicken and duck." Su Yiyan originally wanted to make it bigger, like roast suckling pig and roast lamb. However, the small animals in this era were bigger than those on ancient Earth. It was really difficult to make an oven that could fit them. Therefore, Su Yiyan had no choice but to give up the idea. Even if she couldn't eat roast lamb and suckling pig, she could eat meat skewers. Su Yiyan added charcoal to the oven in front of everyone and brushed a layer of oil on the barbecue rack. Then she reopened the live broadcast and set a limit in advance to ensure that other people's faces wouldn't appear on screen. Even if someone accidentally entered the camera, a cartoon avatar would be automatically added to protect the privacy of the person on screen. Not long ago, the viewers who had just finished watching the live stream of Stewing Soup saw the originally dark screen flash. The live stream was opened again, but the background had changed from the previous kitchen to an especially large and beautiful garden. "This is a garden? The host's private garden? Oh my god, it's so big and beautiful." When I saw the host's previous live broadcasts, I already knew that the host was rich. Now that I've seen this garden, I'm once again sure that the host is really, really rich. Poverty limits my imagination. If I remember correctly, someone did a survey on the housing prices in City A few days ago. 1 square meter is more than 100,000 yuan. The courtyard of the streamer's house should be more than 100 square meters, right? Previous poster, you're too naive. 100,000 yuan per square meter was something that happened 2 years ago. Moreover, this price is only for ordinary buildings. You can only get it in a slightly more remote neighborhood. The host's house is obviously a private villa with its own courtyard. The price is at least 10 times higher and it's priceless. It's basically passed down from the older generation, so it's impossible to buy it. The legacy of the older generation? So, was it true that the streamer came from a hidden big family? Previously, the host changed the background once. Many things in the kitchen seemed ordinary, but every single one of them was extremely expensive. It was really low-key and luxurious. At that time, I felt that the host had a strong background. Sure enough, sob, who gave me the courage to enter this live stream. According to the previous few people, with my small salary, I can't buy a toilet in someone's house even if I work hard for hundreds of years. Oh no, I can't buy a brick in someone's house. Chapter 9:16. For a moment, the live broadcast room was flooded with comments. All kinds of rich haters, jealous and envious comments flew past like a speeding motor, blocking the screen. Some of the new fans even wondered if they had entered the wrong live broadcast room. Wasn't this a gourmet live broadcast room? Why were they showing off their wealth all of a sudden? Su Yiyan didn't expect that such a small courtyard could be turned upside down by this group of people. They could smell the scent of money. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ahem, okay, let's continue our previous live broadcast. Today I've prepared a barbecue for everyone. This is the barbecue rack in front of me. The fire is already lit. Let's start with the barbecue. As Su Yiyan spoke, she placed the prepared meat skewers and seafood on the rack. The charcoal fire below was already burning. After a while, a loud sizzling sound came from the rack. The meat skewers that Su Yiyan asked her family to skewer were skewers of white meat and lean meat. When the meat was roasted, the oil from the white meat seeped onto the lean meat. Not only was it not oily, but it also whetted everyone's appetite. As time passed, the aroma of the barbecue changed qualitatively the moment Su Yiyan sprinkled the seasoning. Smoke rose in spirals, accompanied by the burnt aroma of the meat skewers and seafood, quickly pervading every corner of the courtyard. Gulp. The people who had surrounded Su Yiyan excitedly to see how Su Yiyan was going to cook the barbecue swallowed their saliva at the same time as the audience sitting in front of the screen. Their burning eyes stared at the meat skewers in Su Yiyan's hands. They couldn't wait to pounce on them and take a bite to satisfy their cravings. It's almost done. Su Yiyan glanced at the meat skewers in her hands. After confirming that they were cooked, she distributed them to the people around her. This was the first time she was trying to barbecue, so there weren't many skewers. One skewer per person was definitely not enough. The men present were very gentlemanly and gave the first skewer to the girls. Lan Jie also wanted to give his skewer to Yan Xiaoran, but just as he handed it over, Su Yiyan stopped him. Wait, it's not suitable for you to eat spicy food now. Eat these skewers. Su Yiyan said as he passed a few skewers of meat with a little salt to Yan Xiaoran. Yan Xiaoran blinked her eyes in confusion and tried to take a bite. She found that it was similar to the barbecue meat she usually ate, but there was a little more smoky charcoal and fruit aroma, and the texture was richer. Delicious. Hearing what she said, the people around her couldn't help but swallow their saliva again. However, they hadn't fallen to the point of fighting over food with a breastfeeding mother. They raised their heads and looked at Su Yiyan. Sui Yiyan received the pitiful gazes of this group of people begging to be fed and could not help but laugh. It's good that it's delicious. Do you like to eat meat or vegetables? The ingredients are all here. If there's anything you want to eat, just tell me and I'll roast it for you. As soon as these words came out, everyone's eyes lit up. One by one, they rolled up their sleeves and excitedly went to pick the dishes. The viewers in the live stream who had just tasted the dish were not so happy. It's really delicious, but it's also really stifling. Why am I not the streamer's friend? I also want to be a guest at the streamer's house. When I think about how I can only taste it and can't even swallow it, but they can grab a few skewers and eat them all into their stomachs, the nutrient solution in my hands suddenly doesn't taste good anymore. Does the streamer still need friends? They have hundreds of millions of assets. They can sell goods, do laundry and sweep the floor. Chapter 9:17. I want to capture a local tycoon. I also want to ask the streamer what are the requirements for making friends? Someone as fair and beautiful as me who can be both a front and an assistant, is that okay? Lan Jie looked at the large pile of messages asking to make friends on the screen. It was like a large-scale blind date scene. He suddenly understood what his sister-in-law had said before. A few days ago he was still a member of the bullet screen, shouting and trying to attract the streamer's attention and eat the food she made. Now he had become a member of the streamer's team and the target of envy and jealousy from her fans and colleagues. This feeling was really King awesome. Lan Jie, who suddenly felt a lot better, followed his sister-in-law happily to pick out vegetables with a subtle sense of superiority. Huo Chenhuan walked behind Su Yiyan, hugged her waist and asked in a low voice, "Are you hot?" "No, are you hungry?" Su Yiyan said as she looked around. After making sure that everyone's attention was not on them, she took out a few pieces of freshly grilled squid and handed them to Huo Chenhuan. "I left it especially for you. Eat it." However, she forgot that Ling Xiaoqi and the others were indeed not there, but the audience watching the live broadcast was still there. Report. The streamer used public resources for private use and secretly hid grilled squid for her husband. How can you face your friends who support and trust you? How can you face our bitter audience who can only watch but can't eat? Streamer, you're wrong. Didn't you say that you'll treat everyone equally? Why does he get special privileges? Woo, I don't accept it. Su Yiyin looked at the screen full of abused singles complaining that she opened the back door for her husband. Just as she was about to say something to comfort them, she heard the person beside her suddenly say, "It's useless to accept it." Hua Chenhuan glanced at the dense bullet screen and confidently declared her sovereignty. Because I'm her husband. You're not. As soon as she finished speaking, the originally dense bullet screen suddenly became much emptier. If it were not for the fact that there were still a few sporadic comments that were only faintly passing by now, Su Yiyin would have suspected that her live streaming room was lagging. After a short silence, it was followed by a blowout. Oh, my bad temper. Tell me, do you want to fight? Although this is the truth, why does it sound like you're asking for a beating? Silently grinding teeth. Draw your sword, love rival. Let's fight. The winner will be the streamer, the loser will be a lurker. Silently draw my 40-meter machete. JPG. Strictly speaking, this should be the first time Hua Chenhuan appeared in the live streaming room, but the old viewers in Su Yiyin's live streaming room seemed to be familiar with him. However, this was the first time a certain someone appeared on screen, and he attracted a lot of hatred. Suzes. Fight? Why would I want to fight with you? Yin was originally mine. Even if I didn't hit her, she would still be mine. If that's the case, why should I fight with you? Do you have nothing better to do? After Hua Chenhuan mocked the crowd, he still felt that it wasn't enough. He took a bite of the grilled squid that Su Yiyin had specially reserved for him and enjoyed it. It's so fragrant. Like chickens and ducks, the squid of this era was also a giant. Even if you stuffed your mouth full, you could only eat half a squid leg. The squid meat was firm and chewy. With the addition of pepper, it was hot and fragrant. It was not inferior to the pork skewers from before. Chapter 9:18. After being stimulated by Hua Chenhuan's proud and straightforward public display of affection, the audience was also stimulated by Hua Chenhuan's shameless behavior. Some poor single people were so angry that they cried on the spot. Realizing that they might not be able to win against this shameless man, many viewers tactfully brought up Su Yiyin and complained on the spot. Host, your husband is bullying us. Are you going to do something about it? Just tell us if you are going to do something about it or not. That's right. Host, are you just going to watch your husband bully us? Didn't we agree to be each other's little cutie forever? Su Yiyin did not expect that the fire of war would burn her head without warning. Under the meaningful gaze of her man, she decisively abandoned the rook to save the king. She coughed softly and said, "What little cutie? Don't talk nonsense. This is my little cutie. Don't bully him." Row after row of ellipses lined up, just like the cold hearts of the audience in the live broadcast room at this moment. I can't stand this grievance. I'll turn from a fan to an anti-fan for 1 minute. Host, you've changed. You're no longer the gentle, considerate, upright, and kind host from before. It's all this dog man's fault for leading you astray. It's all this dog man's fault. When you love her, you call her sweetie or cutie. When you don't love her anymore, you abandon her and throw yourself into someone else's arms. Sure enough, the heartless people in this world are all the same. What makes the host go against her conscience and ask the victim not to bully the perpetrator? Sloth. What makes my eyes teary? It's my heart that has been abandoned by the host like a pair of worn-out shoes. The lively pop-up screen instantly turned into a large-scale drama scene. Su Yiyin was embarrassed and amused at the same time. She turned her head and met the eyes of her man, who seemed to be smiling yet not smiling. Little cutie? Su Yiyin's expression suddenly froze, but she quickly remembered that she was in the middle of a live broadcast. There were 7 to 8 figures of viewers in the live broadcast room staring at her. She couldn't back down. Isn't it? Hua Chenhuan saw the change in Su Yiyin's expression. How could he not see that she was pretending to be tough? Yes. Hua Chenhuan pointed at his own cheek. My dear wife, won't you consider giving your little cutie a reward? Su Yiyin was stunned, and her little face turned red from her cheeks to her neck. Because of Hua Chenhuan's words, the dense bullet screen went blank for a moment. In the next few seconds, everyone in the live stream was waiting, including Hua Chenhuan. In the end, Su Yiyin couldn't resist her man's eager gaze. With a slight blush, she leaned over and kissed Hua Chenhuan lightly. Su Yiyan, who thought that he had done it very discreetly, had underestimated the effect of the live broadcast equipment. What just happened? Did you all hear that? Or is it just my imagination? You're telling me that it's a hallucination? Dead fish eyes staring at people. JPG, so it was a kiss, right? It was a kiss, right? And it was the host who took the initiative. What's with this feeling of a cabbage taking the initiative to kiss a pig? F***seek, I'm going to die from anger. A well-known female host actually did this kind of thing in the live broadcast room. Is it the degeneration of human nature or the decay of morality? I used to think that I was following a food host, but I found out that I was following a health host. When I finally accepted that I was following a health host, I found out that she was a F***king crazy PDA host. Before a dog dies, no couple is innocent. Chapter 919. The single spectators who had been successfully abused cried out. The only thing that comforted them was that other than them, the other invited guests were also abused. When Lan Jiayer and the others returned from choosing their dishes, they found that there were 2 people in front of the grill instead of 1. More importantly, the 2 of them were feeding each other as they barbecued. They had turned the outdoor barbecue into a feeding contest, competing to see who could feed more. The crowd, who had been unexpectedly abused, was speechless. They were here to eat barbecue, not to eat dog food. But they had to admit that with Huo Qinhuan's participation, the speed of the barbecue sped up a lot. The crowd, who were already hungry from the first batch of barbecue, quickly got to eat the delicacies they had been longing for. They took their plates and quickly left the couple, who were showing off their affection as if there was no one else around. I actually ate the meat skewers that young master personally barbecued. Oh my god, am I dreaming? If this gets out, I don't know how many people will die of jealousy. Yu Zian looked at the 6 or 7 meat skewers in his hand. He was in disbelief but also a little proud and complacent. Not everyone could eat the meat skewers that their young master had personally barbecued. Zui Yanbai glanced at Yu Zian with disdain. You've eaten young madam's food at least 3 or 4 times before. Why are you making such a fuss? How is that the same? Young madam is young madam and young master is young master. How can you mix them up? Yu Zian turned to Gu Xiaoyang and said, Xiaoyang, pinch Yanbai and see if it's true. Okay. Gu Xiaoyang was a little confused. He subconsciously reached out to pinch Zui Yanbai. Fortunately, Zui Yanbai's reaction wasn't slow. When he saw Gu Xiaoyang's outstretched hand, he retreated and avoided Gu Xiaoyang's evil claws. Wait, if you think you're dreaming, just pinch yourself. Why pinch me? It hurts to pinch myself. I'm not stupid. The veins on Zui Yanbai's forehead throbbed when he heard this. He gritted his teeth and said, It hurts to pinch you, but doesn't it hurt to pinch me? Your skin is rough and thick, so the pain will pass. Unlike me, my skin is so tender and tender. Just a bump would bruise my skin for half a month. What's more, just a pinch. Yu Zian proudly showed off his fair right hand as he spoke. Zui Yanbai smiled coldly. Yes. I'm a rough-looking person. I'm 8 meters tall, 2 meters long legs and 8 packs. She can't compare to young Master Yu, who has been eating fresh flowers and drinking dew since he was young. Yu Zian's. And? Enough, you two. Stop arguing. Is the barbecued meat not fragrant enough, or are young master and young madam too tolerant? How dare you make trouble in young master's house? I think you're too arrogant. Gu Xiaoyang's words reminded them of their situation. They, who had been bickering with each other, suddenly became weak. They sat down reluctantly, but they didn't intend to forgive each other. Gu Xiaoyang looked at the 2 of them, who turned their faces away and ate without looking at each other. He had a splitting headache and felt that he was in a difficult position. Chapter 920. On the other hand, Ning Xiyuan was obsessed with taking photos and videos of the grilled meat and vegetables on his plate. What are you doing? Ling Xiaoqi was a little confused by the scene. Although taking photos before eating was not a girl's privilege, Ning Xiyuan did not look like someone who would do such a thing. I'm taking photos and sending them to my brother. Your brother? Ling Xiaoqi had heard Ning Xiyuan mention his family situation before. She knew that he had a younger brother who was a celebrity and seemed to be from Su Yiyan's company. He went out of town to film a variety show 2 days ago and will only be back after a week. I heard that the place is relatively remote and the conditions are very difficult. He can't eat or sleep well, so he has to do everything himself. Ning Chirue had indeed taken on a variety show recently. He claimed that he was going to experience life in the most beautiful places in the country. When Ning Chirue heard the words, "the most beautiful place," he excitedly packed up his things and ran over. When he arrived, he suffered a critical blow from reality. The scenery was beautiful, but the living conditions were too backward. Ning Chirue was beaten up by reality on his first day there. There was really nothing in the place. Not only did he live in a straw hut, he could not even buy a good nutrient solution, which forced Ning Chirue to gnaw on tree bark. Not only that, but the fans nowadays also loved to see the miserable looks of big celebrities. They claimed that they wanted to uncover the unknown side of the celebrities and let everyone see the contrast between them and the celebrities. For the sake of that little bit of ratings, the production team had put in a lot of effort to train them. Ning Chirue had only been gone for 2 days, but when he contacted them, he was no longer in the high spirits and enthusiasm he had before he left. All that was left was deep regret and bitter tears. The younger brother was suffering and starving far away, while the older brother was eating and drinking well at the boss's house. One could imagine how devastated Ning Chirue would be after seeing these photos and videos. Ling Xiaoqi heard the gloating in Ning Xiyuan's words and said with a subtle expression, "You're too bad." When Ning Xiyuan heard Ling Xiaoqi's words, he was not angry but happy. He smiled slyly and said, "It's good that you're bad. Isn't there a saying that women don't like bad men?" Ling Xiaoqi didn't expect him to say such a sentence. She was stunned for a while before she reacted. She raised her eyebrows and said, "Why? Do you want other women to love you too?" "I just need a little kitten to love me." Ling Xiaoqi blushed. It was Ning Xiyuan who saved her when they first met. After that, Ning Xiyuan personally sent her home. After they got together, Ling Xiaoqi did ask him why he fell in love with her. Ning Xiyuan's explanation was, love at first sight. At that time, you were frightened and looked at me pitifully like a homeless kitten. From then on, the term little kitten became a tacit little secret between the two of them. Ning Xiyuan's sudden mention of it was like a critical hit to Ling Xiaoqi. How could she still care about Ning Xiyuan's teasing words? When Hua Hua followed the smell of meat skewers to find her owner, she saw such a scene. Her owner blushed and sat in her seat in a daze. Then, she seemed to have thought of something and looked up to glare at the person beside her. Hua Hua knew that her master's use of two-legged words was called anger from embarrassment. She was embarrassed and not really angry. Chapter 921. Not only was his master's boyfriend not angry at being glared at, he was also not afraid. He only looked at his master dotingly. It was clearly just eye contact without any physical contact, but it made people feel that they were compatible. Just by looking at them, it made people feel that nothing could come between them. Hua Hua stared at the two for a while, then turned and ran away without alarming anyone. Dun Dun watched his wife run away. He was squatting in the corner of the yard next to the dog hole, drawing circles. He was just about to take the initiative to look for his wife. Then he realized that his wife had run back on her own. Woof woof, woof woof woof. Dun Dun's spirits were lifted. He happily rushed over and ran in circles around Hua Hua. What was unexpected was that Hua Hua, who would usually impatiently slap him down, didn't do anything this time. Instead, she silently allowed a certain someone to have fun. Hua Hua raised its chin slightly and glanced at the silly dog who was trying hard to please it. Isn't he just a silly husband? Who doesn't have one? This prawn is delicious. I specially asked them to buy prawns with more meat. I've also picked out the prawns so you can eat them. Su Yiyin handed a few grilled prawns to Huo Chenhuan. Huo Chenhuan did not eat immediately after receiving them. Instead, she took out one of the prawns, peeled the shell, and handed it to Su Yiyin. Su Yiyin did not hesitate and ate it in one bite. Huo Chenhuan smiled slightly and continued peeling the shell. When the second prawn was handed over, Su Yiyin was unwilling to eat it. You eat too. Don't just feed me. It's inconvenient for you to have something on your hands. Su Yiyin still did not eat. Huo Chenhuan's eyes flashed when she saw this. She moved closer to Su Yiyin and threatened her, "If you don't eat obediently, do you want me to kiss you in front of so many people?" Su Yiyin was stunned and glared at a certain someone who was extremely daring. The audience in the live broadcast room heard this and exploded. Did I hear wrongly? Did the streamer's husband just say he wanted to kiss the streamer? That's right. What's with not eating obediently? Is he treating the streamer as a child and coaxing her? Oh my, why is it a little cute and a little sour? Come on. Kiss, kiss, kiss. I'll kiss you now. I'll kiss you immediately. I'm not a man if I don't kiss you. That's right. What's the point of flirting? If you're a man, take action. The streamer took the initiative to kiss you before. How can you not kiss her back? Kiss back, kiss back, kiss back. It could be seen that the audience had gradually calmed down after being abused by the two of them. If they didn't want to be abused, the best way was to take the lead and support the couple. If you dare to show off, I'll support you. Who's afraid of who? Su Yin's expression was erratic. At a glance, she saw the comments that were all over the screen encouraging Huo Chenhuan to kiss her. The corner of her mouth twitched slightly, and she was secretly speechless at these people's desire to see the world in chaos. Just as she was about to turn off the bullet screen, out of sight, out of mind, she heard Huo Chenhuan's low chuckle. It seems that they all want me to kiss you. Su Yin was shocked. When she turned her head, she realized that Huo Chenhuan had unknowingly moved closer to her and had a panoramic view of the comments floating by on the bullet screen. Those words on the bullet screen were clearly not from her, but Su Yin still felt inexplicably ashamed that she had been caught by Lung Wuji. In order to regain some face for herself, Su Yin snorted coldly and pretended to be angry. Do you do what they say? Do you feel that whether you kiss me or not depends on whether other people want to kiss me or not, and not whether you want to kiss me or not? Here she is, a tsundere streamer who says one thing and means another. Chapter 922. Tsk, if the host's husband dares to say no, he'll have to kneel on the washboard when he goes back. Don't ask me how I know, this is a lesson learned by blood. Vicissitudes of life lighting up smoke. JPG? Host, kissing me depends on other people's opinions. Do you want to kiss me or do the audience want to kiss me? Upstairs, although we really want to kiss the host, we can't, right? We can only reluctantly let the host's husband do it for us. Aya, why haven't you kissed me yet? I've prepared the nutrient solution, I'm just waiting to see the two of you kiss. The screen was full of comments encouraging Huo Chenhuan, but to everyone's surprise, after reading these comments, Huo Chenhuan was unwilling to kiss in front of so many people. She narrowed her eyes and sneered. It's mine, I won't let you see it. My wife, can't I kiss you anytime? Why do I have to kiss you people? I won't. When we get off the stream we can kiss however we want. It's just the two of us, no one can see. It was just a few words, but it made the audience who had wanted to watch a good show angry. Aya, I'm so angry that I'm laughing. We can't even see your faces, we can't even hear your voices. Sob sob sob, I used to think that the host's husband was very good, rich and doting on his wife. After hearing this, I'm disillusioned. Good my ass, this is a stingy person. This isn't stingy, it's possessiveness. The host's husband is declaring his sovereignty to us. Doghead. So, why do I have to torture myself here? The hosts in other streaming rooms are so sweet. They spend more money and show their faces if they want to, and act cute if they want to. But here? It's fine if I can't see their faces, but I get angry so easily. I'm depressed. Our host doesn't lack money. If we really spend money and ask the host to do this and that, our streaming room would have been flooded with all kinds of gifts long ago. Have you forgotten the famous scene where the top dad was warned by the host in the battle with the new boss not long ago? Su Yin's heart skipped a beat when she saw this comment. She looked at Huo Chenhuan as if she sensed something. No wonder a certain someone was so clingy today. This was the first time he appeared in her streaming room. Previously, when he was not online, he could only compete with Do Channy in the livestream channel by throwing money to win the other party. It was not easy to show off their love openly. It was not only to reveal their true feelings, but also to warn those who were hiding behind the screen, including Do Channy. Su Yin was taken. Whoever dared to lay their hands on her should be prepared to be chopped off by him. Understanding this, Su Yin could not help but reveal a sweet smile on her face. At this moment, Lan Minghan, who had rushed back to the company to deal with some matters and missed a lot of delicious food, finally arrived. As soon as he entered the door, he saw the two of them being lovey-dovey. He couldn't help but cough lightly to make his presence felt. You're here. Yin Xiaoran's eyes lit up when she saw her husband. She got up and ran over to welcome him. Where's the child? She's playing with Andy's baby inside. Have the company's matters been settled? Are you hungry? It's all settled. As for whether he was hungry or not, Lan Minghan's gaze subconsciously drifted to the fragrant skewers in Su Yin's hands. The meaning behind his gaze was self-evident. Su Yin was very familiar with Lan Minghan's gaze. She handed the skewers in her hands to Huo Chenhuan and smiled slightly. You came at the right time. If you came any later, the delicious food would have been gone. Immediately, everyone saw Su Yiyan bend over and open the small oven below. She used a pair of pliers to pull out a large black lump that seemed to be charred. Chapter 923. Lan Jia was originally a curious baby. As soon as the black ball rolled out, he spontaneously went over to poke it. Don't move, it's still very hot. Do you want to cook your little hoof? Lan Jia was shocked. He silently lowered his head to look at his white and slender little hoof, and sullenly withdrew his hand. It seems to be soil. Soil? Lan Mingan's expression suddenly became subtle. This was what little Ant meant by delicious food. Could it be that she wanted him to eat soil? Was he going to eat or not? Lan Minghan was instantly caught in a dilemma. Su Yiyan was oblivious to Lan Mingan's inner struggle. He took a small hammer and hit the black ball. With a crack, the outer layer of soil cracked open, revealing the yellowed lotus leaves inside. There's something inside. Lan Jia's eyes lit up slightly, like a child who had found a special toy. Su Yiyan reached out to take the thing out of the soil, but was stopped by Hua Chenhuan. Let me. Hua Chenhuan said as he took out the thing and put it on the table beside him before Su Yiyan could. Su Yiyan took his hand and glanced at it. After making sure that it wasn't scalded, he walked over and cut the rope that tied the lotus leaves. He lifted the lotus leaves that were wrapped in several layers, and a roasted chicken appeared in front of everyone. Su Yiyan tried to poke the chicken with chopsticks. The chicken's belly was immediately poked open, revealing all kinds of spices, shrimps, diced meat, mushrooms, bamboo shoots, and other side dishes hidden in the belly. The fragrance that was locked inside was also completely released. This is called beggar's chicken. According to legend, a beggar who was a beggar accidentally got a chicken, but he didn't have any spices. Helpless, he could only throw the chicken into the fire to roast it. But the one I made is an improved version. I added some ingredients and side dishes. Before I covered it with mud, I wrapped it with many layers of lotus leaves so that it won't get dirty even if it's covered with mud. The lotus leaves are the leaves of the lotus. Previously I said that the lotus is a treasure. There are lotus seeds in the lotus pod and there are lotus roots at the bottom. The flowers, lotus roots, and lotus seeds can all be eaten. The lotus leaves can also be used to wrap some food and cook it with flavor. Speaking of this, Su Yiyan drew a big picture for everyone present. The beggar's chicken is just one of the cooking methods. Next time, I'll make lotus leaf glutinous rice chicken for you. It's also very delicious. Although the audience present and the live stream viewers did not know what the lotus leaf glutinous rice chicken looked like, many of them were already craving it after hearing what Su Yiyan said. Andy, can we eat this now? Lan Jia almost blurted it out as he looked at Su Yiyan eagerly. That's enough. Everyone's eyes lit up. They couldn't wait to attack. But considering that there were other people around and that they were in the live stream, they resisted this impulse. They scurried around and found the chopsticks. Finally, they reached out their evil claws to the chicken filled with this sinful aroma. The chicken skin on the surface of the chicken had become fresh, thin, and soft because of the long-term roasting. When they ate it, they could even taste a faint burnt aroma. The fragrance of the lotus leaves slowly penetrated into the chicken during the roasting process, making the chicken crispy, fat, and tender. The lotus fragrance assailed their nostrils. Coupled with the various seasonings and side dishes inside, everyone was mesmerized by the taste after just one bite. How is it? Is it delicious? Su Yiyan asked subconsciously when she saw that they didn't speak after eating. Chapter 924. This question brought everyone back to their senses. Lan Jia was her fan to begin with. Now that a fan had appeared and even had the chance to eat the delicious meal that his idol had personally cooked, he couldn't hold back his belly full of praise. Delicious, delicious, very delicious. I've never eaten such delicious chicken in my life. It's obviously covered in soil, but there's no earthy taste at all. There's only the fragrance of the leaves. The outer layer is crispy, fragrant, and a little sweet. The chicken isn't as dry as the barbecue meat I've eaten before. Instead, it's very tender. I feel like the meat is going to melt in my mouth. It's so delicious. Lan Jia's outburst stunned everyone, and it also made the audience in the streaming room temporarily shift their attention away from the food. 666. What kind of celestial brother is this? He actually said all the things I wanted to say but didn't know how to say. I'll give you a like. Streamer, tell me honestly. To be your friend, do I have to learn how to flatter first? If so, I'll go and learn right now. How is this flattery? Is the truth okay? If I can eat a meal cooked by the streamer, I can totally write a 3,000-word review of flattery. Hurry up and let me do it. TSK. I was originally quite happy because I ate a lot of good food today, but when I heard this brother's flattery, I instantly felt that the chicken in my hand wasn't delicious anymore. Sob sob sob, for the 11,220th time, I want to be the streamer's friend and eat a meal cooked by the streamer. Touch the person above. Go to sleep. There's everything in your dreams. After Lan Jia finished speaking, he realized that he had lost his composure. When he met the surprised and confused gazes of the people around him, he froze on the spot as if a bucket of cold water had been poured on him. Lan Minghan could understand his brother's feelings. Ahem, Jia is right. This chicken is indeed delicious. It's better than what I've eaten before. The others reacted and hurriedly echoed, yeah. Although the barbecue just now was also delicious, the taste is different from that one. They both have their own advantages. It's hard to choose. Eat more if it's delicious. There's no need to choose. It wasn't easy to invite you all here. How can I let you all go home hungry? As Su Yiyan spoke, he glanced at Yen Xiaoran and smiled faintly. If you feel that it's a bit too much to eat only vegetables and meat, there's some porridge in the kitchen. It's not bad. Yen Xiaoran received Su Yiyan's gaze and was startled. She quickly realized that the beggar's chicken and porridge were not specially prepared for her. The barbecue didn't have any seasonings like pepper. On the contrary, the beggar's chicken was sweet and delicious to her. It was neither salty nor bland, which suited her taste. When they heard that there was porridge to yans to be had to eat a bowl. The beggar to eat, the beggar eat barbecue. To eat barbecue eat. The two to eat to the stream to eat to the point to eat. S asterisk asterisk to the asterisk asterisk. To the asterisk when they were almost done eating, Su Yiyan temporarily gave the barbecue position to Huo Chenhuan. He returned to the small kitchen to check on the stewed soups. After a few hours of stewing, the soups were already very tasty. When the lids were lifted, the house was filled with the unique smell of medicinal herbs. It wasn't very fragrant, but it wasn't bad either. Especially the 4-ingredient stewed chicken. When the lid was lifted, the smell rushed to the tip of the nose and lingered for a long time. It was hard to ignore. Chapter 925. Next, let's draw a prize. Streamer, can you draw some barbecue for free? I want to eat it. There's also beggar's chicken. I want to eat beggar's chicken. Looking up to the sky and crying out loud. JPG, I'm sorry. For barbecue, the ingredients prepared today are basically used up. I really can't give it away. Everyone. Were those guys pigs? They could eat so much. But on second thought, if they could be invited to the streamer's home as guests like them and eat the dishes made by the streamer, even if their stomachs burst, they wouldn't be willing to let go of any delicious food. I can give away one beggar's chicken. I just put 2 or 3 in. I didn't eat much, so there should be 1 left. Let's draw a lucky audience to give it to me. No matter how good a person's appetite was, the capacity of the stomach was limited. Ling Xiaoqi and others ate a lot of barbecue and porridge. Although the chicken was delicious, they couldn't eat it all. At least there was 1 left. 1. Oh my god, did I hear it wrong? It's a whole 1, not a piece of meat or a leg. It's a whole 1. Streamer, look at me. I'm a loyal fan of the streamer. I've watched all of the streamer's previous live broadcasts, and I've given rewards for each one. For the sake of my love for you, please give me the prize. Get out of here. Why are you playing the emotional card at this time? What's so great about being an old fan? We're also old fans of the streamer. We've watched all of the streamer's live broadcasts. As for the rewards, if you have the ability, you can compete with the top 1 on the list. Let's see if he can beat you to death. Jade Emperor, Queen Mother, God, Jesus, Zeus, Apollo, and all the gods above. I'm willing to exchange my fat for this barbecue chicken. Please let me be the winner. Although according to the usual practice, there would be a lot of people cramming in the bullet screen at the last minute and praying for a lucky draw, it was the first time Su Yiyan had seen so many people spamming the bullet screen as enthusiastically as today. It could be seen how charming this whole chicken was. However, no matter how these people begged, there was only 1 lucky person after all. Congratulations to the lucky audience, Yaya Hometown Ming, for getting a beggar's chicken. Please send me a private message as soon as possible. The prize will be sent out in a few minutes. Please check it carefully. As soon as Su Yiyan's voice fell, the man sitting in front of the office computer jumped up and said excitedly, I got it. I got it. No, it's me, he he he. This lucky audience member is you? The big boss's voice came from behind her. Only then did Liu realize that she had been too excited and yelled in front of the big boss. His face, which had been flushed with excitement, turned pale. Dou Qianyi saw that he did not speak for a long time. His eyes narrowed dangerously as he said coldly, Don't make me ask a second time. Liu was shocked and quickly said, It's my sister's account. I borrowed it. Your sister's number? Dou Qianyi's mind flashed, and a look of understanding flashed across his face. A long time ago, someone had mentioned that a large proportion of the lucky audience members in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room were female accounts. Few male accounts could get the patronage of the goddess of luck. For this reason, there were even people who questioned whether Su Yiyan had adjusted the probability of male and female accounts to discriminate against male accounts. However, not long after this question was posted, it was blocked by the website for deliberately slandering the host. The audience in Su Yiyan's live broadcast room did not feel anything. After all, the lucky draw relied on a bit of luck. Chapter 926. After Su Yiyan became popular, she attracted a lot of jealous people. They were used to all kinds of strange ways to slander her. Seeing that the other party was banned, they didn't care too much about this problem. Dou Qianyi didn't think so. He always felt that the data behind was not as simple as it looked. And the person who caused this may not be Su Yiyan herself, but it may be. Inform the financial department to transfer you a sum of money according to the auction price. Put it into my account. Liu's heart skipped a beat. He knew that Dou Qianyi was going to spend money to buy the beggar's chicken from him. Although he could get money if he had a choice, he really didn't want to give up the chicken. Sob, 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 it was not easy to be lucky. He really wanted to eat it. Dou Qianyi didn't understand the pain in his assistant's heart. He stared at the busy figure on the screen and tried to suppress the impulse to grab the person. He whispered, Wait, wait. Before the prey fell into the trap, the hunter needed to be patient enough to wait for the right time. After the lottery, Su Yiyan packed several prizes and sent them out. Then she was ready to go back to the yard. But she didn't expect to meet someone just at the door of the kitchen. Ma, little aunt. Su Yiyan was amused by Lan Jia's hesitant look. What? Do you want to settle accounts with me again? No? No, I didn't want to settle accounts with you. What you said before made sense. I didn't ask anything and assumed that you were a fan of the streamer like me. If you insist, I'm the one with the bigger problem. I also have a certain responsibility. I didn't want people to know that I was the streamer in the live broadcast room. So, when you asked me if I was a fan, I didn't say anything. But in a way it was a tacit admission. I did give you some wrong information when I faced you and made you misunderstand. Why don't you want people to know that you are the streamer? There are so many people on the internet who like you. They like the streamer Yan Yan, not your little aunt Su Yiyan. Lan Jia looked blank. What's the difference? You two are clearly the same person. It's the same person, but as far as I'm concerned, Su Yiyan is Su Yiyan, and the host is the host. Back then, the reason why I chose to do a live broadcast was because I wanted to bring these things back to the public. At the same time, he could also accumulate favorability points to speed up the activation of skill points and unlock Chinese medicinal herbs to treat Hua Qinhuan's leg. The intention is good, but that doesn't mean that I have to sacrifice my real life to serve it. You just said that there are many people who like me online, but there are also many people who don't like me. If I don't let them know that I'm the host, no matter how much they hate me, they can only talk about me online. But if they found out, they might come to the real world to discuss me and my family. I don't want this to affect my current life and my family. Lan Jia was stunned for a while before he mumbled, So, you're still refusing to show your face in the live stream? Yes. Then why did you invite me and my brother today? You're different. You're my fans and you have a good relationship with Qinhuan. Qinhuan trusts you, so I naturally trust you too. When Lan Jia heard this, he felt flowers blooming in his heart. He suddenly understood the happiness of those girls who chased after celebrities. So, this was what it felt like to be an idol? It seemed like he could continue to be a fan. Chapter 927. Lan Jia looked at Su Yiyan, touched. He was about to say something to express his determination as a fan when he heard Su Yiyan add, Of course, the main reason is that our Chen Huan is a senior in the family, and he's protective of his loved ones. If you dare to leak this out, Lan Jia raised his head in a daze and met Su Yiyan's devilish smile. I'll let him beat you up. Lan Jia. Was it too late for him to quit being a fan? Don't blame your brother and sister-in-law. I asked them to hide it from me. First, I didn't want people to know so early. Second, I was afraid that you'd feel awkward after knowing the truth. If you want to blame someone, blame me. Don't blame them. Su Yiyan saw that he was still in a daze. She smiled and teased him. Of course it's okay if you want to blame them. I don't think you can beat them anyway. If not, I'll ask Chen Huan to be the first to beat you up. Anyway, you definitely can't beat Chen Huan. Lan Jia. Not only did he want to quit being a fan, but he also wanted to step on her. When the two of them came out of the house, there was a huge contrast. Su Yiyan was all smiles as if she had won a battle. Lan Jia's eyes were unfocused as if he had suffered a huge blow. Hua Chenhuan saw the two strange expressions. Su Yiyan walked over and asked in a low voice, "What's wrong with that guy?" Su Yiyan chuckled and said slyly, "Nothing. He just helped you establish your authority as an elder." Hua Chenhuan frowned slightly but did not ask. She only checked the surveillance footage from Yuan's database and found out the whole story. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. That night, she tortured this little liar who used her connections to intimidate others several times. The next morning, Hua Chenhuan did not go to the Hua Corporation. Instead, she asked the driver to send her to a remote and run-down suburban district. "Who is it?" The woman in the small rental house heard the knock and walked out. She peeked through the crack in the door but was stunned when she saw the person's face. "How did you?" Hua Chenhuan looked at her expressionlessly and said coldly, "Is it convenient to talk inside?" The woman, Xue Xiaoyu, who had tricked Hua Chenhuan and now lived alone, stared at Hua Chenhuan for a while. Then she opened the door and let her in. The house where Xue Xiaoyu lived now was the old house where her family used to live. Xue Xiaoyu's father started from scratch. Even after they made money from their business, they didn't give up the old house that they bought with their first bucket of gold. Xue Xiao had lived here for more than 20 years. It could be said that there were too many memories of her in this house. Unfortunately, back then the Xue family's capital chain was broken and they owed a huge debt. As the couple's joint property, this house was auctioned off to pay off the debt. After the death of his parents and sister, Xue Xiao was depressed for a period of time. After he cheered himself up, he began to earn money desperately to buy back the house. Unfortunately, her ability was limited. Besides, she already had the idea of revenge against Hua Qihan. She was also worried that if this house was registered under her name, it would arouse Hua Qihan's suspicion and then her identity would be discovered. In the end, Hua Chenhuan helped her solve this problem and returned the house to its original owner. After Hua Chenhuan entered the house, she glanced around quietly and her eyes flashed slightly. The house with 3 rooms and 1 living room was not big, but it was decorated very cozily. It could be seen that Xue Xiao had put in a lot of effort in this aspect after taking back the house. Chapter 928. Xue Xiao took a glass of water and put it in front of Hua Chenhuan. He sat opposite Hua Chenhuan like an old friend and said lightly, "I thought you wouldn't come to me again after Hua Qihan was arrested. I thought you wanted me to come to you." Xue Xiaoyu's expression was slightly stiff. She lowered her head and did not speak. Hua Chenhuan did not want to beat around the bush with her and said directly, "Hua Qihan wanted to steal my child. Why didn't you tell me in advance?" "It's not that I didn't tell you in advance. Although Hua Qihan took me with him, he usually avoided me and didn't let me know about this kind of thing." Hua Chenhuan's eyes narrowed dangerously. "You're lying." "I didn't lie." Xue Xiaoyu was not afraid of Hua Chenhuan at all. She smiled sarcastically and hollowly. "When Hua Qihan contacted that woman, he did avoid me. Maybe in his eyes, I was just a daughter flower attached to him. If I hadn't shown my deep affection for him when he was betrayed by his friends and family and fully satisfied his male chauvinism vanity, I'm afraid he would have thrown me away long ago. However, no matter how careful he was, I still heard it." When Xue Xiaoyu said this, her eyes stared at Hua Chenhuan unreservedly. She was calm and numb. It seemed that she didn't care whether Hua Chenhuan would be angry after hearing this, let alone whether he would retaliate against her after this. Hua Chenhuan's eyes were slightly cold. She had already understood the real purpose of Xue Xiaoyu's action. "You want to kill Hua Qihan with a borrowed knife. You want me to help you kill him. I am sorry for you and your wife, but I don't regret it." Xue Xiaoyu was a spy that Hua Qinhuan buried beside Hua Qihan. She helped Hua Qinhuan to keep an eye on the family Hua's every move and stir up trouble to make Hua Qihan betray his friends and family. But this time, Xue Xiaoyu got the news in advance that Hua Qihan colluded with the servants of the old house to steal Hua Qinhuan's child, but she kept silent from the beginning to the end. You knew where Hua Qihan was hiding. You played with him like a cat playing with a mouse, making him see hope and fall into deeper despair. But it's far from enough for me. Speaking of this, Xue Xiao took a deep breath. What would have happened if he had been caught? He would be imprisoned for a lifetime, but Xue Xiaoyu. She wanted Hua Qihan to die. Of course. She knew that his wife and children were Hua Qinhuan's sore spot. As long as they were touched, Hua Qihan would have no reason to continue living. Of this deal. She felt that she was losing is this. Of this deal. Of this deal. Hua Qinhuan looked at her and frowned slightly. He seemed to realize something and said, "Do you want to die?" Xue Xiaoyu knew that she would offend her. If she really wanted to get out of this matter, she should have gone as far as possible after Hua Qihan was arrested. She should have gone as far as she could, instead of staying here and waiting for her to find her. The only explanation was that she never wanted to live from the beginning. Taking revenge on Hua Qihan was the only driving force that kept her alive. The only thing she wanted to do now was to see him pay the price for all the things he had done. Then she would go to this familiar place to find her family. Hua Qinhuan was silent for a long time and suddenly got up. The result of Hua Qihan's case will be out in a month. Xue Xiaoyu was slightly stunned and smiled. Really? That's great. Hua Qinhuan glanced at her and turned to go out. But the moment she stepped out of the door, she whispered, "Leave here and find a place where no one knows you to start over." Chapter 929. Xue Xiao's eyes widened, looking at Hua Qinhuan's back in disbelief. You? Hua Qinhuan ignored her surprise and was about to leave. Xue Xiao chased after him. Don't you want to take revenge on me? Hua Qinhuan frowned slightly. Do you want me to take revenge on you? That's not it. Xue Xiao looked up and down at Hua Qinhuan and chuckled. I just feel strange that you are not such a gentle person. It's Yin Yan's idea. Yin Yan? Xue Xiao's mind flashed. Your wife. Compared to sacrificing yourself to avenge your family and reunite with them by committing suicide, your family may want you to live happily for the rest of your life. Did your wife also say this? Xue Xiao was slightly surprised but felt that it was reasonable. When they first met, Hua Qinhuan was not married yet. At that time, Xue Xiao immediately felt the similar atmosphere in him. But since he got married, Xue Xiao could feel the change in him more than anyone else. And the person who caused all these changes was undoubtedly his wife. Your wife is really a gentle person. Xue Xiao was a little envious and jealous. You are very lucky. At the most unfortunate time, he met the light that could illuminate him and the person who was willing to pull him out of the swamp. Hearing her words, Hua Qinhuan's expression softened. Xue Xiao couldn't help but feel a little jealous, sighing, For the sake of your wife, I will give you a gift. A gift? Hua Qihan had no choice but to record it when he was desperate. I think you should be interested in it. Xue Xiao took out a recording pen from her pocket and handed it to Hua Qinhuan. This recording pen was very small, with a large capacity and a wide range of recording distance. After Xue Xiao followed Hua Qihan, she took this pen almost every day, in order to record evidence that could overthrow Hua Qihan at any time and place. This is a recording that I secretly recorded when he was on the phone with someone when he was running away with me. At that time he seemed to have a dispute with the other party over money. I roughly heard that it seemed to be related to the death of your parents. Hua Qinhuan's eyes narrowed slightly. She grabbed the recording pen and turned it on. Hua Qihan's exasperated voice immediately came out. I can't even protect myself now. Where am I going to find such a large sum of money for you? What do you mean? Threatening me? What happened back then? What else can you do other than threaten me with what happened back then? Don't forget that you were the mastermind behind the incident back then. At best, I was just a little pawn who provided information for you. You were the ones who sent people to attack them, and you were the ones who tampered with the car. Jing Qianyang is in the country right now. Do you really think that he suddenly came back just to take a look at my vicious brother? If you're not worried about exposing your whereabouts and being hunted down by Jing Qianyang and the fish that escaped the net back then, you can publicize what happened back then. For so many years, every time you don't have money you come to me for help. Do you really think I'm your ATM? It was okay when the whole group was still in my hands. Now I have nothing anyway. My life is worthless. It's worth it to drag you vampires down with me? Either you kill that little bastard like how you killed the two old bastards and let the whole group return to my hands. Or don't come to me again. I have no money to give you. Chapter 930. The recording stopped abruptly. She guessed that Huo Qihan had hung up the phone after saying those harsh words. Huo Qinhuan's face sank when she heard Huo Qihan's second sentence. Her face became even gloomier when she heard the last sentence. Although Huo Qihan did not say what the other party was threatening him with, she could tell from his words that he was talking about the accidental death of Huo Qinhuan's parents. Huo Qihan was in contact with the group of people who planned all this at that time. He must have something to do with what happened that year. Huo Qinhuan put away the recording pen with a gloomy face. Then she solemnly said to Xue Xiao, "Thank you." Even if she knew that Xue Xiao took out this thing at this time to make Huo Qihan die more miserably, it was undeniable that she did help in this matter. Xue Xiao smiled and didn't accept his gratitude. "Thank your wife." Huo Qinhuan went downstairs with the recording and immediately contacted Zheng Qianyang. "Uncle, where are you now? I have something to discuss with you. Can you come to my company?" "Yes, now it's very important. It can't be explained over the phone." "Okay, I'll wait for you in the company." Huo Qinhuan hung up the phone and looked at the car passing by the window. Her face was gloomy and terrible. On the other side, when Su Yiyan went downstairs, Huo Qinhuan had already gone out. After a simple breakfast with the little fellow, Su Yiyan set off for the company. Unexpectedly, she received a strange phone call when she just arrived at the company's gate. Su Yiyan hesitated for a while and picked it up. Unexpectedly, "Miss Su." "Mr. Do?" "It's me." "What about the matter that I asked Miss Su to consider before?" "Miss Su, have you considered it?" "The matter before?" Su Yiyan was stunned. She really forgot about it. However, that day Do Qiani came to her uninvited and said a lot of specious words. In Su Yiyan's opinion, it was very annoying. Later, this person stopped for a period of time and did not bother her again. She thought that her answer that day had made him retreat. "Mr. Do, I said very clearly that day that our two companies have different business philosophies. There is no need to cooperate at all. If you want to find someone to cooperate with you, you can cooperate with other management companies. I believe that with the scale of Hai, as long as you say so, there will be many companies scrambling. Why do you want to fight with a small company like mine? But I only want to work with you. Not with your company but with you." When Su Yiyan heard his words, she did not know why, but she had goosebumps all over her body. Her words became a little impatient. "But I don't want to work with you. This is my answer. I hope this is the last call you'll make to me. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up first." Su Yiyan didn't wait for Do Qiani's reaction and hung up the phone. Just as she took 2 steps forward, a group of tall and strong men in black rushed over from who knows where and surrounded her. Su Yiyan's bodyguards heard the commotion and quickly stepped forward to shield Su Yiyan behind them. In a moment, the leader of the group of uninvited guests surrounding Su Yiyan walked out and said respectfully, "Miss Su, our boss wants to talk to you about something. Please come with us." "Your boss?" Su Yiyan recalled the phone call and her face darkened. "Do Qiani sent you?" Chapter 931. The leader did not say yes or no. He only said in a low voice, "Boss only wants to see Miss Su and have a chat with Miss Su face to face. He won't hurt Miss Su. Please rest assured, Miss Su." "Then it's him." Su Yiyan was so angry that she laughed. Was she worried that a certain someone would hurt her? She was angry at a certain someone's incomparably arrogant attitude in inviting her. His mouth said please, but his actions were inhumane. He raised the banner of tolerance high, but in reality he was just a wolf in sheep's clothing. He could not move others but only himself. Sure enough, these world's protagonists had problems with their brains. If I go just because he asks me to, wouldn't I lose face? Please, Miss Su, don't make things difficult for us. Damn, he even used moral blackmail. The mockery in Su Yiyan's eyes intensified. She asked, "Am I very familiar with you?" The leader was stunned. How could he dare to answer such a question? "This is the first time I've met Miss Su." "That means we're not familiar with each other." Su Yiyan sneered at him. "Since we're not familiar with each other, why should I care if you make things difficult for me?" The leader choked. Just as he was about to say something, he was once again interrupted by Su Yiyan. "Besides, I'm not the one who's making things difficult for you. If you have the ability, go back and tell your boss not to make things difficult for you. Why are you looking for me? Picking the soft persimmon to pinch? Then I'm really sorry. I'm not some soft persimmon. I'm not someone you can pinch just because you want to. The leader's face turned ashen after being ridiculed by Su Yiyan's words, but he had no choice but to endure it. After all, his boss's intention was to politely invite her back and not hurt a single hair on her head. Looks like Miss Su doesn't intend to cooperate. Then don't blame us for not knowing the severity of our actions and hurting you. When Su Yiyan heard what he said, he almost couldn't help but curse on the spot. You guys look like you don't have good intentions. You want me to go with you? You don't even ask for my opinion. As soon as I rejected you, you wanted to use force. You even told me not to blame you for not knowing the severity of your actions. You're really acting like a whore, yet you still want to set up a monument to your chastity. Su Yiyan was so angry that he laughed. Looking at the several people, he said, "Is that so? Should I thank you then?" After Su Yiyan finished speaking, he was too lazy to talk nonsense with this group of people. He reached out and patted the bodyguard in front of him. These people don't seem to put you in their eyes at all. If you don't teach them a lesson, I'm afraid your boss will lose face. The bodyguard also smiled. What you said makes sense, but fists and feet have no eyes. You'd better go back to the car and wait for us to deal with it before you get out, okay? Their location was still some distance away from the company's main entrance, and this group of people had long been prepared to block the only way to the main entrance. Compared to running to the company now, it was obviously safer to go back to the car. Sure, why not? I'll go back now. When the leader saw that Su Yiyan was about to leave, his face darkened, and he decisively led his men to approach Su Yiyan's direction. After a while, they started fighting with Su Yiyan's bodyguards. After all, their target was Su Yiyan, and they were only told not to hurt Su Yiyan. Most of the people around Su Yiyan were transferred from Zheng Qianyang to Huo and Huo specially sent to protect Su Yiyan. Most of them were retired martial artists from the special department. 1 against 2 was no problem, but Dou Tianyi seemed to know the people around her very well. This time he also spent a lot of money to invite Su Yiyan. Chapter 932. The people who surrounded Su Yiyan were not as good as the bodyguards on Su Yiyan's side. However, with 2 or 3 people surrounding one person, it still caused some trouble for the bodyguards. Because of these people's entanglement, it was inevitable that some mistakes were made in their defense. Several people who escaped the net took advantage of the fact that Su Yiyan's bodyguards were tied up by their colleagues and rushed towards Su Yiyan. They wanted to take her away before Su Yiyan got into the car. At that time, Su Yiyan only had 2 bodyguards beside her, but there were 5 people who rushed over. The 5 people had a clear division of labor. 4 of them were divided into 2 groups to tie up the 2 bodyguards, while the remaining 1 ran directly to catch Su Yiyan. In their opinion, Su Yiyan was a weak woman who lived like a princess. She would be knocked down with a casual touch and would not have the strength to fight back. 1 person was more than enough to catch her. The 2 bodyguards who were tied up quickly realized their intentions and wanted to stop them. However, these people were too cunning. Even if they could not beat them, they would hug their necks or legs and would not let them move at all. Seeing that the person was getting closer and closer to Su Yiyan, everyone's hearts were in their mouths. However, the expected scene did not happen. The development of the matter was beyond everyone's expectations. As soon as the man touched Su Yiyan, she clasped his wrist and threw him over her shoulder, causing him to be stunned. However, this man was not to be trifled with. After realizing that he had underestimated his opponent, he quickly got up from the ground and wanted to pounce on Su Yiyan again. However, Su Yiyan was 1 step ahead of him. Before he could stand up straight, she kicked the bend of his leg and kicked him until he knelt on 1 knee. Then she picked up the bag in her hand and threw it at the man's face, directly hammering him to the ground. After suffering 2 heavy blows, the man only felt pain in his chest and legs. His face was burning and blood flowed down his nose like it was free. He did not know if his nose bridge was broken or not. He struggled to get up, only to find that Su Yiyan had walked to his side without him noticing. With a smile on his face, he stared at him condescendingly. The man did not know why, but he felt a chill run down his spine. He suddenly had an ominous premonition. In the next second he saw Su Yiyan slowly raise his foot. The muffled sound of the collision and someone's shrill scream made all the men present clamp their legs together. They looked at Su Yiyan with panic in their eyes. Su Yiyan glanced at the man who was rolling back and forth in pain on the ground. She simply moved her muscles and bones, slung her bag over her shoulder and said regretfully, "If I knew that I would encounter such bad luck today, I wouldn't have worn a skirt. It really affected my performance." "Everyone? That's enough to restrict you? If you don't wear a dress, I'm afraid you'll go to heaven." Before they came, they had already planned to use force if the soft approach did not work. At this moment, they finally realized that Su Yiyan was not the soft persimmon that they had imagined. Just as he was wondering whether he should leave or stay, an angry shout suddenly came from not far away. "The few of you, what are you doing here?" Everyone looked over and saw Xia Junxing with a gloomy face. He led a group of security guards and hurried over to Su Yiyan and the others. The leader realized that the situation had changed. He gritted his teeth and finally gave up on continuing to tangle with Su Yiyan and the others. He quickly retreated with his men. Su Yiyan's men wanted to chase after them, but they were stopped by Su Yiyan. "There's no need to chase after them. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. We all know who sent them here. We don't have to worry about not having a chance to take revenge." He also didn't expect that he was the key to the death of Hua Qinhuan's parents. For more than 30 years, even a dog would wag its tail and beg for mercy, but there was no way to warm up this ingrate's heart. No, he doesn't have a heart at all. Compared to Zheng Qianyang's fury, Hua Qinhuan was very calm. However, those who knew him knew that the calmer he was, the scarier he was. It's not that he doesn't have a heart. On the contrary, he has too much and too big a heart. He can't tolerate my parents and he can't tolerate me. Chapter 934. To put it bluntly, the reason why Hua Qihan took such a big risk to cooperate with a group of desperados and commit such an atrocious act was that he was worried that his parents would hand over the Hua Corporation to Hua Qinhuan, leaving him with nothing to gain. He might as well go all the way and kill all the people and things that might threaten him while they were still in the cradle. It was not that he was heartless but that he was too ruthless. He could even abandon the family who had raised him and nurtured him for so many years. Zheng Qianyang was naturally aware of this, but even though he knew, he still found it hard to accept. His sister and brother-in-law had been smart all their lives, but in the end they had fallen into this kind of child debt. How could he not sigh? Thinking of this, his hatred for Hua Qihan deepened. "What are you going to do? It's impossible not to avenge my parents and my child. But it's definitely not enough to capture him alone." Hua Qinhuan turned to look at Zheng Qianyang. From this recording, it can be seen that he has been in contact with that group of people over the years, and he has been in contact with them recently. Hua Qihan's capture was not widely publicized, and only a few people know about it. I want to ask Uncle to help me set this matter as top secret, at least to ensure that those people won't find out that Hua Qihan is under our control in the short term. Zheng Qianyang's eyes flashed slightly, and he immediately saw what Hua Qinhuan wanted to do. "You want to use Hua Qihan to lure that group of people out?" "Yes. I'm afraid Hua Qihan won't cooperate. If he doesn't cooperate, then find a way to make him cooperate." The beast that had been dormant for a long time finally bared its fangs at this moment. Zheng Qianyang was shocked. Looking at Hua Qinhuan, whose aura suddenly erupted, he finally realized that it was not that his nephew didn't hate. He just hid this hatred in the deepest part of his heart, accumulating it bit by bit and brewing it bit by bit. All the forbearance in the past was just to kill at the critical moment. "I understand your feelings, but those people are very cunning. If we don't handle this matter well, we might alert them and waste all our previous efforts. We have to think about it carefully." The bodyguard's call came in at this time. Hua Qinhuan didn't want to answer, but when she looked at the number, she realized that it was from Su Yiyan's bodyguard. She was worried that something might have happened to Su Yiyan, so she picked up the call. As soon as the call connected, the person on the other end said that Su Yiyan was almost kidnapped by a group of men in black who suddenly appeared at the entrance of his company. The boss behind these men in black was suspected to be the head of the Dou family, Dou Tianyi. Fortunately, with the efforts of all of them and the eruption of the young madam's little universe, they successfully repelled this group of uninvited guests. During this time, he emphasized that Su Yiyan alone beat up a big man who was several times bigger than her until he was bleeding and almost had no descendants. Unfortunately, Hua Qinhuan's mind was focused on Su Yiyan almost being kidnapped. How could she be in the mood to listen to his explanation? She immediately left Zheng Qianyang and rushed out. Zheng Qianyang was not stupid. When he saw Hu Chenhuan's expression suddenly change and run out, he knew that something big must have happened. He hurriedly followed after her. Hu Chenhuan ran to Dongqing City as fast as she could, but the first thing she encountered was neither big nor small. This was the first time he had entered Su Yiyan's company. The receptionist didn't recognize him at all and asked him politely, "Hello, sir. May I know who you are looking for?" If there were more people or if there were fewer people around you. Before Hu Chenhuan could finish her words, her face darkened. Su Yiyan knew that he was panicking because of his concern. She wanted to say something to comfort him, but the phone on the table suddenly rang. Su Yiyan looked at Hu Chenhuan comfortingly and picked up the phone. "What's the matter?" "President Su, there's a man downstairs who claims to be your uncle. He wants to go upstairs to see you but he doesn't have an appointment. Do you think?" Before the receptionist could finish speaking, Su Yiyan heard a familiar voice on the other end of the phone. "Yin, I'm blocked by your company's receptionist downstairs and can't go up. Can you get someone to come down and pick me up?" Su Yiyan. Chapter 936. Su Yiyan confirmed Zheng Qianyang's identity and asked the receptionist to let him upstairs. Then, she hung up the phone and glanced at Hu Chenhuan with a subtle expression. Even her uncle was stuck downstairs and couldn't come up. How did this guy get up here? Could it be? Zheng Qianyang came up very quickly. The receptionist was worried that he wouldn't be able to find the place, so she kindly led him to the top floor and pointed him in the right direction before leaving. It was considered atonement for her mistake. As soon as Zheng Qianyang entered the door, he couldn't help but sigh. "The receptionist of your company is really conscientious. I tried so hard to persuade her in every possible way. My mouth was almost broken, but she didn't listen. She almost called the security guard to arrest me." Su Yiyan couldn't help but laugh at the thought of that scene. She explained on behalf of her company's receptionist, "They must have been frightened by what happened this morning. They are more cautious than usual." Then she suddenly looked at Hu Chenhuan and changed the topic. She teased, "Our company's receptionist is so conscientious that she let you up." Zheng Qianyang finally realized that the receptionist had only stopped him and not Hu Chenhuan. Could it be that they look at age to stop people? Hu Chenhuan glanced at him and mercilessly said, "It could also be that they look at appearance." Zheng Qianyang? This unlucky nephew of his can't be any more. Su Yiyan listened to the conversation between the two and smiled slightly. She glanced at the screen at the side and saw that a few girls in her company's small group chat were trying their best to promote her and her husband as a couple. Su Yiyan narrowed her eyes and secretly added in her heart, "It seems that he relied on his identity as the boss's husband to get up here." Ahem. Zheng Qianyang was injured by his nephew's straight shot. He had to use a roundabout way to save himself. "Let's not talk about this. What's going on with Yan? Chen Huan received the call and ran away without saying anything. I saw that something was wrong with his expression, so I was worried and followed him here." Hearing Zheng Qianyang's words, Su Yiyan subconsciously glanced at Hu Chenhuan and said embarrassedly, "There was a small accident when I came over this morning." Before Su Yiyan could finish her words, Hu Chenhuan interrupted her unhappily, "Almost being kidnapped is just a small accident? Kidnapping? Who did it?" Zheng Qianyang's expression changed slightly. He immediately thought of that group of people. "Should be Dou Tianyi." "Dou Tianyi? That brat from the Dou family?" Zheng Qianyang frowned. "Why did he kidnap you?" "He has a rare blood disease and wants me to help him recuperate. He beat around the bush and said that he wants to cooperate with our company. I refused, but I think there's something wrong with his brain. He can't understand human language." Before this, Su Yiyan still had some subtle sympathy for Dou Tianyi. But under the other party's various tricks, her little sympathy had been completely wiped out and turned into strong disgust. Hu Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan's disgust for someone, and his expression became a little better. But when he thought of what happened today, it was difficult to get rid of his anger. "I don't think there's something wrong with his brain. There's something wrong with his eyes. He dares to brazenly send people to kidnap you. He doesn't take me seriously at all." Su Yiyan knew that Hu Chenhuan wouldn't let it go, but she was also worried that his anger would affect his health. She comforted him in a low voice, Okay, let's not lower ourselves to the same level as this idiot. Besides, I didn't lose anything, did I? The guy who came to kidnap me not only did his nose break but I also stepped on him. I think he won't be able to move for a while. He had thought that he was an easy bone to chew, but in the end, it was his own teeth that broke. To be able to hold back those people that Xinhuan sect gave you, these people's skills shouldn't be too bad. It's already not easy for you to gain an advantage over them. Especially according to Su Yiyan's words, the other party should have been seriously injured, but she was completely unharmed. There wasn't even a small wound. Even if this outcome was definitely caused by the other party underestimating Su Yiyan because she was a girl, it could be seen that Su Yiyan did have some skills. You just said that your family hired a few masters to teach you these things. What are the names of these masters? Don't think too much. I'm just a little curious. Moreover, there might be someone I know among these people. The premise was that the person was powerful enough and famous enough. Chapter 938. Su Yiyan knew Zheng Qianyang's background, so she didn't think too much about it. After a moment of contemplation, she mentioned the name of the coach she thought was the best, but Zheng Qianyang really did know him. Oh, it's him. Zheng Qianyang let out a long sigh and suddenly understood. Hua Qinhuan frowned slightly. Uncle, you know him? We've met a few times. After the initial surprise, Zheng Qianyang calmed down a lot and looked at Su Yiyan with curiosity and inquiry. After I retired, the higher-ups sent a very good person to take over my job. The person who taught Yan was that person's right-hand man at the time and was very capable in all aspects. I thought that when he got older and accumulated more credits, he would be able to replace that person and become the new leader of my department. Unfortunately, I heard that he was injured during a big mission and couldn't continue to stay there, so he could only retire. Zheng Qianyang's tone of regret when he said this didn't seem to be fake. Obviously, he recognized Su Yiyan's ability as a coach. I didn't expect that your family would be able to get him to teach you. It seems that they put in a lot of effort. Even if that person had retired from the school, it was not something an ordinary person could do if they wanted him to be a coach for a little girl. Su Yiyan smiled. Uncle Xiang and my uncle were brothers who grew up together. Later on, our family moved to another city because of some family matters. Although we didn't keep in touch much, we didn't break off. After Uncle Xiang came back, he partnered with my uncle to start a small business. At that time, my family wanted me to learn something to defend myself, so they found a few old masters to teach me. When my uncle heard about this, he pulled him in as well. Zheng Qianyang laughed. Your family found a few people at once? Uncle Xiang alone can take on a group of people. I think so too. Her family didn't know much about whether the people they found were professional or not. At that time, her family was very worried about her. Hiring a coach could be said to be an act of desperation. Most of the people they found were embroidered with embroidery. Of course, there were 2 or 3 people who had some real skills, but compared to Uncle Xiang, these people were inevitably at a disadvantage. How is he now? It's pretty good. Uncle Xiang's family background is not bad. Later on, he cooperated with my brother to start a small business. A few years ago, he got married and had a child. Now his family is living quite happily. That's good. After entering that department, many people had already given up on life and death. It was just that as they got older, they inevitably wanted to settle down. And among these people, there was no lack of people like Zheng Qianyang, who were worried about being hunted down by their enemies and implicating others, or worried that they might not be able to return at any time and waste others' time, so they remained single. It might not be a bad thing for a certain someone to retire early, get married, have children, and have a small family of his own. However, Zheng Qianyang turned his head and looked at Hua Qinhuan sympathetically. His expression was complicated. Silly nephew, your wife's martial arts skills are so high. If the two of you have a conflict in the future and get into a fight, I'm afraid you won't be able to beat your wife. You'll only be beaten. Hua Qinhuan received her uncle's caring little gaze and almost immediately saw through his little thoughts. The corner of her mouth twitched slightly. She thought to herself, not to mention that he goes along with Su Yiyan in family matters, it's impossible for him to quarrel with his wife, let alone fight. Even if that day really comes, can he really fight back against his wife? He'll definitely be beaten up one-sidedly. It has nothing to do with his wife's martial arts skills. Chapter 939. The leader, who was particularly tough in front of Su Yiyan not long ago, now looked at Liu for help like a frightened bird, and then gathered his courage to say, "I'm sorry boss, the people around Miss Su are too good at fighting. We tried our best but could only hold them back, and we didn't expect Miss Su to be so weak, and her skills are—" Before he finished his words, Do Channy's overly sharp eyes had already chopped over, and the leader was so scared that he shivered and couldn't say a word. "I just want to know the result, not the reason." Cold sweat flowed down from the leader's head, and he said with shame and fear, "I'm sorry boss, we failed." The atmosphere in the room instantly became cold, and the leader's face was as pale as paper. He didn't dare to think about what terrible end he would face. However, to everyone's surprise, Do Channy was silent for a long time after listening to their words, and only replied, "I see, you can go out first. Just let it go?" The leader couldn't believe his ears and almost thought that he had heard wrong. Liu's face darkened when she saw that he didn't know how to leave. She had never seen such a person who didn't know how to read the situation. She had asked him to leave, but he still didn't leave. Was he going to stay and burn himself and others? Liu silently drew a cross at this person in her heart and impatiently coughed lightly to remind him of something. The leader was like waking up from a dream. At the same time, he was worried that this was the calm before the storm, so he left with a heart full of worries. As soon as Liu saw him leave, she immediately took out the small video that she had prepared earlier and handed it to Do Channy. "Boss, this is the video when they went to find Miss Su today." Do Channy took it but didn't watch it immediately. Instead, he asked, "Did they do something to her?" Liu was stunned and couldn't help but wipe a bitter tear for the bodyguards in her heart. The order was to bring her back, but they were not allowed to hurt her. The boss had said it, but the people under him were so bitter that they wanted to scratch the wall. To be precise, it was Miss Su who did it to them. "Oh." Do Channy raised his eyebrows and couldn't help but feel a little curious. Su Yayan did it to them? Was she scratching, biting and scratching? Do Channy couldn't be blamed for thinking that way. Even Zheng Qianyang, who had lived with the Hua family for a while, didn't expect Su Yayan to be so capable, let alone Do Channy, who had only met Su Yayan a few times. The result was, of course, beyond Do Channy's expectations. Do Channy looked at the high-spirited woman in the video and couldn't help smiling. He sighed softly. "I didn't expect her to be so good at martial arts." Do Channy's tone was full of surprise and admiration as he said this. Liu's eyes drifted over to the man who was beaten up badly and silently lit a candle for him in her heart. Boss's double standards are always so straightforward, and he doesn't differentiate between friend and foe. Just accept your fate. After watching the video, Do Channy's mood visibly improved. However, what he said sent a chill down Hui Yao's spine. Deal with the people outside. Liu's heart trembled. Boss. It was indeed the calm before the storm. Couldn't they escape? Deal with them cleanly. Do Channy paused as if he had thought of something. He added, I don't want to see them again. Chapter 940. Hua Chenhua noticed Su Yiyan's strange look and asked with concern, What's wrong? You don't look well. It's nothing. Su Yiyan shook her head. I just remembered what he said to me when he came to me last time. Before Hua Chenhuan could speak, Zheng Qianyang asked first, What did he say? He said that he just wanted to live. I didn't think too much at that time. Now I understand what he meant after listening to my uncle. That is to say, the rumor back then is true? His health, is it really so bad? I don't know if he can only live to 30 years old. But his health is really not good. I've seen him twice. His face is very pale and he is short of breath. I guess he can't even stand for a long time. It seems that he is not well enough in the womb and has been sick for a long time. He hasn't been well. Zheng Qianyang sighed when he heard this. The rumor was spread when he was just born. Not long after, the news disappeared. His father must have asked someone to keep it a secret to protect him. But no matter how rich his father is, he still can't buy back his health. That's right. But from another point of view, if his family doesn't have money, I'm afraid he can't live until now. Zheng Qianyang frowned slightly. He had to admit that Su Yiyan's words were reasonable. Hua Chenhuan's face was a little ugly. It was okay if he just wanted to cure Do Channy's illness. But it was obvious that he wanted Su Yiyan to save his life. Before coming, Hua Chenhuan had imagined countless ways to attack Do Channy. He could suppress the companies under the does, let people take away their big orders again and again, and design to break their capital chain. He could even arrange people to enter Do Channy's companies and instigate the company's executives to be dissatisfied with Do Channy. From the inside, he could disintegrate Do Channy's power bit by bit. But now he could not help but wonder if Do Tianyi really cared about these things. Would a person who had been sentenced to death by a doctor and had less than 2 years to live really care about these worldly possessions? No one knew better than Huo Chenhuan how terrifying a person who was at the end of his rope and could not see any hope could be when he went mad. Some time ago he only came to say a few words. Today he dared to snatch her away in public. After a while, wouldn't he come to their house and snatch her away? Except for the outlaws who had killed her parents and Huo Qihan, this was the first time Huo Chenhuan had such a strong desire to kill someone. Su Yiyan sensed something and turned her head to look. When she saw her man's gloomy face, she guessed what he was thinking. This time Su Yiyan did not comfort him. Instead, she reached out to hold Huo Chenhuan's hand. She knew what Huo Chenhuan was worried about. Do Tianyi was crazy. No one could predict what such a crazy person would do. But it did not matter. She could not predict Do Tianyi, but it did not mean that she could not predict another person. Thinking of the information that Xia Junxing had sent to her not long ago in the folder, Su Yiyan smiled slightly. She already had a preliminary idea in her heart. On the other side, the few people who failed to complete the task inevitably ushered in a disaster. Failed? Do Tianyi's pale and thin knuckles tapped on the table. Although it did not make any sound, it made everyone in the room feel nervous. Chapter 941. The leader, who had been particularly tough in front of Su Yiyan not long ago, looked at Liu helplessly like a bird startled by the twang of a bow. Only then did he muster up the courage to say, "I'm sorry, boss. The people following Miss Su are too good at fighting. We tried our best but could only hold them back. Moreover, we didn't expect Miss Su to be so weak. Her skills are also..." Before he could finish speaking, Do Tianyi's excessively sharp gaze had already slashed over. The man was so frightened that he trembled and couldn't say a word. "I only want to know the result. I don't want to hear the reason." Cold sweat flowed down the leader's head. He said in shame and fear, "I'm sorry, boss. We failed." The atmosphere in the room instantly turned cold. The leader's face was as white as paper. He didn't dare to imagine what kind of terrible end he was about to face. However, to everyone's surprise, Do Tianyi was silent for a while after listening to their words. He only replied, "Got it? You can leave first. Just let it go?" The leader couldn't believe his ears. He almost thought that he had heard wrongly. Liu saw that he was standing there in a daze and didn't know how to leave. Her face also darkened. She had never seen such a tactless person. She had already asked him to leave, but he still didn't leave. Was he planning to stay and burn others? Liu silently crossed out this person in her heart. She coughed impatiently and reminded him. Only then did this person wake up from his dream. At the same time, he was worried that this was the calm before the storm. He left with a lot on his mind. As soon as Liu saw him leave, she immediately took out a small video that she had prepared and handed it to Do Tianyi. "Boss, this is the video of them looking for Miss Su today." Do Tianyi took it but didn't look at it immediately. Instead he asked, "Did they make a move on her?" Liu was stunned. She couldn't help but wipe away bitter tears for the bodyguards in her heart. The order was to bring her back, but they were not allowed to hurt her. The boss had spoken, but the subordinates were so bitter that they wanted to scratch the wall. To be precise, it was Miss Su who attacked them. Oh. Do Tianyi raised his eyebrows. He couldn't help but feel curious. Did Su Yiyan attack them? Could it be that he was scratching and biting? Do Tianyi could not be blamed for thinking this way. Even Zheng Qianyang, who had lived in the family Hua for a while, did not expect Su Yiyan to be so capable, let alone Do Tianyi, who had only met Su Yiyan a few times. The result was, of course, beyond Do Tianyi's expectations. Do Tianyi's lips unconsciously curled up as he looked at the high-spirited person in the video. He sighed, "I didn't expect her skills to be so good." When Do Tianyi said this, his tone was filled with the surprise and admiration of discovering a treasure. Liu's gaze faintly drifted over to the beaten man. She silently lit a candle for him in her heart. The boss's double standards were always so straightforward, and he didn't distinguish between friend and foe. Just accept your fate. After watching the video, Do Tianyi's mood visibly improved. However, the words he said sent a chill down her spine. Deal with those people outside. Liu's heart trembled. Boss. Sure enough, it was the calm before the storm. Was there no escape? Deal with them cleanly. Do Tianyi paused. He seemed to have thought of something and added, I don't want to see them again. Are you being pressed down by someone? I did, but... Liu looked troubled. But the people over there said that someone is manipulating this matter behind the scenes and they can't suppress it. Someone is manipulating this matter behind the scenes. Do Tianyi pondered for a moment and quickly felt that something was wrong. Liu stood beside Do Tianyi. She thought that Do Tianyi would definitely be angry when she said this. Unexpectedly, not only was he not angry, but he suddenly smiled and said, "When a kitten is provoked, it will also bite." Liu was confused. Kitten? What kitten? Assistant Li, who was slow to react, took some time to realize that there was a hint of helplessness and doting in a certain someone's tone when he said this. She could not help but tremble. Chapter 943. Just as the two of them had expected, Su Yiyin was the one who released the news and refused to let anyone suppress it. Previously, when Su Yiyin was surfing the internet, she accidentally found out that He Xiaofeng had been cuckolded. She was so angry that she found a group of hooligans to humiliate Wen Jingping. Unexpectedly, Wen Jingping had hooked up with a married man who was a bootlicker. Just in case, Su Yiyin specially asked Xia Junxing to find someone to keep an eye on the two of them to see if they would still be together behind their wives' and children's backs like in the original work. In the end, Su Yiyin guessed correctly. After the hero saves the beauty incident, Ding Jueci and Wen Jingping had contact and became familiar with each other not long after. It was unknown whether the power of the original work's plot was too strong or Wen Jingping's ability to seduce people was too high. Ding Jueci was an old senior who had been in the entertainment industry for many years. Logically speaking, he should have more or less heard of Wen Jingping's love affairs. However, he didn't seem to mind these at all. Within a few days he was in full swing with Wen Jingping. After that, in less than a week he recommended her to be in a TV series that he was filming. Although Wen Jingping didn't get an important supporting role that could prove her acting skills like in the original work, she still got a small supporting role from Ding Jueci. This was a life-saving straw for Wen Jingping, who had been shelved since the Empress finished filming. Wen Jingping didn't reject Ding Jueci's olive branch. The next morning she happily joined the crew and began to spend time with Ding Jueci day and night. Occasionally they would read the script together. From the information submitted by Xia Junxing, Ding Jueci was more restrained when he first invited Wen Jingping to join the crew. He basically interacted with Wen Jingping in public, and he always held the script in his hands when he spoke. The image of the diligent and studious newcomer and the responsible senior who explained the script to the newcomer was flawless, and no one could find any fault with it. However, there would always be times when people let their guard down. Soon, the two of them crossed the line between senior and junior and began to interact frequently in the dressing room, the fitting room, and even the hotel room of both parties. Xia Junxing had sent a professional paparazzi to follow the two of them. It was almost to the point of being pervasive. Those who were sneaky and cautious could be photographed by him, not to mention these two people who could see that something was wrong. Su Yiyin did not intend to reveal this matter so early, but who asked Do Tianyi to make her unhappy? If the male lead made her unhappy, she would mess with the female lead. In any case, they were now considered one entity, so there was nothing wrong with that. Wen Jingping didn't know that her calamity was caused by the King of Hell's attack, and she, a little demon, was the one who suffered. Seeing that her career finally had a chance to make a comeback, Wen Jingping was suddenly hit by reality. She was in a bad mood. She could only cry and run to the other protagonist to complain. "Brother Ding, how could this be? We clearly didn't do anything. How can these people slander us without any basis? Now that things have turned out like this, how can I face people in the future?" Wen Jingping cried like a pear blossom in the rain, and Ding Jueci's heart ached as expected. "Don't worry. These reporters and the big influencers are all like this. For some traffic they can distort the truth and say anything. I've already contacted my agent and asked him to find a company to help with public relations. It will be fine soon. Just like you said, we didn't do anything. The innocent will be innocent. Nothing will happen." Chapter 944. Just like in the original novel, Ding Jueci was indeed having an affair with Wen Jingping. Especially since Wen Jingping was still single, unlike the original novel where she had been with He Xiaofeng for a long time. This gave Ding Jueci a good reason to pursue his true love. His attitude toward Wen Jingping was much warmer than in the original novel. However, Wen Jingping had only been using Ding Juecy from the beginning to the end. How could she have a substantive relationship with him? Every time Ding Juecy hinted at her, Wen Jingping would try her best to reject him, but she would not hurt Ding Juecy's self-esteem. She would keep him at arm's length. This made Ding Juecy mistakenly think that she was avoiding him and keeping a distance from him because she was worried about his identity as a married man. Wen Jingping's backup plan was very successful. Not only did she not push Ding Juecy away, but she also made him even more obsessed with Wen Jingping. Ding Juecy's heart melted when he saw Wen Jingping crying so miserably. He wished he could pull her into his arms and dote on her. A bold idea appeared in his mind. Don't worry. I'm here. It'll be fine. Yes, I believe in brother Ding. Wen Jingping looked at Ding Juecy with reddened eyes, which made Ding Juecy want to protect her. Just as he was about to say something to comfort her, an urgent ringtone suddenly rang. Ding Juecy glanced at the name displayed on the screen, and his expression changed slightly. He said apologetically, "Don't worry. The company and I will handle this. You just stay on set and don't go anywhere. I still have something to deal with. I'll leave for a while. I'll be back soon to accompany you." Okay. Ding Juecy left in a hurry. Wen Jingping instantly stopped crying. She looked in the direction he left and sneered, "His wife." An unfamiliar and rigid mechanical voice suddenly sounded. Yes. Calling him back at this time must be because of the online incident. Wen Jingping suddenly changed the topic and said coldly, "Have you found out who released those things? Searching for the mastermind requires a certain amount of points. The host's current points are not enough to activate this function. Please complete the mission as soon as possible to obtain points." Wen Jingping's face darkened. She was so angry that she wanted to drag out the so-called system in her mind and give it a good beating. This system called the Source of the World had suddenly found Wen Jingping when she was driven out of the Dou family by Li Yu. At that time, Wen Jingping had been frightened, but more than that, she was ecstatic. She had read countless system novels, so how could she not know that those who were chosen by the system were almost always the chosen ones? Sure enough, the heavens didn't let her transmigrate just to let her be ordinary. Wen Jingping quickly accepted the existence of the system and tried to use it to change her fate. However, things did not go as smoothly as Wen Jingping had imagined. She needed to complete missions and earn points to be able to exchange for goods in the system. But because of all the things that had happened before, Wen Jingping's reputation had been ruined to a certain extent, making it difficult for her to complete the missions given by the system. Wen Jingping had spent a lot of effort to get a few points. She had used all of them to increase her charm. In any case, she had grabbed hold of Ding Juecy, this life-saving straw, which gave her some buffer time. However, Wen Jingping was obviously not satisfied with this. The probability shows that the male supporting lead is very likely to divorce his wife after returning. Wen Jingping's face darkened. She sneered, "Divorce is divorce. What does it have to do with me?" Chapter 945. The mechanical voice in her mind was silent for a few seconds before speaking again. After the divorce, there is a high probability that he will come to the host to ask for a relationship. Wen Jingping's face completely darkened, and the coldness and resentment in her eyes became more and more obvious. If he wants to date me, then I'll date him. Does he really think that I'm a mistress who will come and go as he pleases? I've never said that I want to date him. Who can he blame if he misunderstood me? From the beginning, Wen Jingping didn't plan to have any relationship with this old man who was one round older than her. Ding Juecy was just a stepping stone to help her climb up. When she found someone else to rely on, this stepping stone would naturally lose its value and could be discarded. Wen Jingping had always been very clear about what she wanted. After entering the set, she had set her eyes on the male lead of this drama, Yin Jihong. Yin Jihong was the most favored young master of the Yin family, an acting family. His grandfather's generation was quite famous in the entertainment industry. His parents, as the second generation of stars, had lived under the spotlight since he was young. He also inherited his grandparents' acting talent and became a senior that many people looked up to. Yin Jihong was the most talented and the most favored child in the entire family. After entering the entertainment industry, everything had been smooth sailing, and no one dared to provoke him. Even Ding Juecy, who was a well-known actor in the entertainment industry, could only be a supporting actor in front of Yin Jihong. Wen Jingping set her eyes on Yin Jihong because he was good-looking and was about the same age as her. Secondly, she took a fancy to his family background. Although the Yin family wasn't as rich as the CEOs of large companies, the connections they had accumulated in the entertainment industry were not something that ordinary people could compare to. If she could get on this big boat, she wouldn't have to worry about not having a foothold in the entertainment industry in the future. However, the key was that after she entered the set, she had hinted at this young master countless times, but he refused to take her words. Although he didn't find trouble with her or show any disgust or rejection, he also didn't show any kindness to her. He didn't even say a word to her. Basically, he only treated her as an insignificant and invisible person. Thinking of this, Wen Jingping was full of anger. Is there a problem with the things you provided? Why are they fine when used on Ding Juesi, but not on Yin Jihong? Could it be that this thing was divided into different people? You're not trying to fool me, are you? Host, be careful with your words. According to the data, Ding Juesi's family background is far inferior to Yin Jihong's. He is considered a beginner cannon fodder. The difficulty of capturing him is low, and he is greatly affected by the female lead's halo. Yin Jihong, on the other hand, belongs to the reserve of the main supporting male role. The difficulty of defeating him is high and the influence of the female lead's aura is low. The host needs to accumulate more points to exchange for more items to facilitate defeating him. What the system didn't say was that the gray wing didn't bite a flawless egg. Ding Juesi was this fly. When Jingping was young and beautiful, she took the initiative to come to him. Plus, with the support of the items exchanged by the system, it was naturally not difficult to capture him. However, Yin Jihong was different. He was born into a scholarly family. Although he was extremely spoiled at home, his upbringing was very good. He liked capable, independent, and strong girls. He was the complete opposite of Wen Jingping, who was a weak white lotus. If Wen Jingping wanted to capture him, she would have to exchange for high-level items in the system. Only then would it be possible to blind his eyes and make him have a good impression of Wen Jingping, who had completely different preferences from him. In the end, Wen Jingping was not his cup of tea. If she wanted to capture this person, the only way was to rely on the system. Chapter 946. Unfortunately, she had no idea at all. Even the system wanted to pry open her head to see what was inside. In addition, I would like to remind the host that according to the host's previous choice, the world's male lead has been changed to Do Qianni. Even if the host tries to woo Yin Jihong, he can only be regarded as a backup male supporting character. The main target is still Do Qianni. I hope the host understands. It would have been better if the system did not mention this. Once it did, when Jingping almost exploded on the spot again. Do Qianni? Didn't I say it before? I didn't know about this at all. What changing the world's male lead? What male lead or supporting male lead? They didn't even remind me and decided on my own. How could they say that it was my choice? I never had a choice. Besides, do you think Do Qianni has any feelings for me? It'd be better for you guys to choose an old man like Ding Juesi as the male lead than him. When the system first appeared, it had already mentioned to Wen Jingping about the world's male lead. Wen Jingping found out that the original male lead of this world was Hua Xiaofeng. However, after she chose to leave Hua Xiaofeng and seek protection from Do Qianni, the male lead was inexplicably replaced by Do Qianni. She felt terrible. If she had known that her momentary lapse in judgment would cause her to fall into such an embarrassing situation, Wen Jingping would never have left Hua Xiaofeng in such a resolute manner and jumped from one fire pit to another. The most annoying thing was that this male lead role could only be changed once. She had already used it up, so she was destined to be tied to Do Qianni for the rest of her life. Otherwise, she would not be able to truly seize the fate of the world. Wen Jingping shuddered as she recalled that man's callousness and how she had been humiliated by Li Yu near the Do residence. She said hysterically, "No, you have to help me change it. Change it to Yin Jihong. Yes, change it to him. You said it yourself, I'm the female lead of this world and I have the world's fate. My words are imperial edicts and you have to change them now. This is how the world's consciousness is and the system cannot change it. Host, please do not make things difficult for the system." The tone of the system's reply already had some impatience. It also didn't expect that it had only made a little mistake and arrived a little later than expected. This stupid world's female lead actually broke off with the male lead to the point that they wouldn't rest until one of them was dead. She even activated the world's protection mechanism to automatically change the male lead. In its opinion, the current situation was completely caused by Wen Jingping herself. Difficult? You can't even do such a small thing, and you say I'm making things difficult for you? Wen Jingping was going crazy. You can't do this and you can't do that. What's the use of you? When you first appeared, you said that you could help me solve all my problems, make everyone like me and make everyone pay the price for going against me? And the result? You can't do anything. I've never seen a system as useless as you. As soon as Wen Jingping's words came out, the system was very angry. As the most advanced system, the things it could do were definitely beyond the imagination of this paperman world. It was helpless that it was bound to a fake and brainless host. She didn't do a good task but went around looking for trouble. It had to face all kinds of Azura battlefields as soon as it was in place. A certain someone didn't have enough points to exchange for items in the system store. She didn't blame it for being useless, but she actually dared to push the blame to it. Even though it was just an emotionless AI, the system had a rare hint of human anger in it. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.